Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
And good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show live on woodwardsports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam again today. He is feeling a little bit better, but about 7 o'clock last night he texted me. He's like, I can't do the show, Jeff.
Yeah, he tapped out. He texted me as well. He's like, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. And now this is the second consecutive show Adam is not here, which has never happened.
I was going to say, and that's what's crazy is, you know, when did you guys take over the morning show? What was that, like August of last year?
Yes.
Almost 2 years ago. So, like, it's been, what, a year and 4 months, and Adam's missed one show. Now we're going back to back, baby. I don't know what's going on with this guy.
No, hey, Tom Brady loses last night. Adam misses back-to-back shows. Things that just don't normally happen are happening lately.
Yes.
Like Brett Maher last night, 0 for 3. When he's missed 3 in his career, extra points. He misses 3 consecutively. It was just a weird game last night, to be honest with you. It really was. I did not expect it to go that way.
Do you want to get right into that, or you want to talk about some other stuff? I mean, we got to talk about Jim Harbaugh saying he's returning to Michigan, which wasn't announced by the AD. It was announced by the president, so that was kind of weird and different. So we're going to discuss that coming up. Jared Goff and the quarterback situation, now that CJ Stroud has announced that he is going to go into the NFL. Obviously, NFL playoffs coming up. But, yeah, let's talk about the game last night a little bit. I mean, not the game you want to see if you're a Bucs fan or a Tom Brady supporter, and it was just a very, just strange game all the way around. I didn't think it was very entertaining. I thought the Cowboys absolutely manhandled the Bucs, for the entire game. Yeah. And as soon as Tom Brady threw that pick, it was almost an impossible hill to climb to get back.
No, it was. And to correction real quick, thanks to the chat, it was 0 for 4. He was actually 1 for 5 from the game.
Yeah, he missed one in the second half, too.
Yeah, it was bad. And it was funny, Dan Campbell went on the, Eli and Peyton's, ManningCast, and they asked him, what would you do, coach, if your kicker's missing all these extra points? He's like, man, I'd give him a chance in the second half, but after that, we're going for 2. There you have it. He misses another one in the second half. I mean, thanks last night. I went with the Bucs for a couple different reasons. I mean, even though last night the Bucs were the worst team coming in, and they looked like the worst team at home. I mean, coming into the game, they couldn't run the ball. And in the game, they couldn't run the ball. Like, before last night, they were 32nd in the NFL in rushing yards per game. They averaged 76.9. And, again, you're facing a team like Dallas with that pass rush. If you cannot establish the run and you allow Micah Parsons to pin his ears back and get after you, you're going to have a long night.
It was like the very first play of the game was indicative of what was going to happen the rest of the game. Like, Parsons runs down. It's a tackle for a 3-yard loss because they didn't block him.
There you go.
One thing I want to get into, though, is the Tom Brady slander that I'm seeing.
Okay.
How? Just how? Like, honestly, this is what scares me about being a human in general, because it doesn't matter what you ever accomplish in your life. You could be the greatest of all time, but 2 years removed from a Super Bowl, now you're washed. Now you're not good. Now you're a has-been. Now you shouldn't have been playing in the league this long. And that frustrates the hell out of me. Because people are so short-sighted that they just want to focus on the last 2 years. And once again, this goes back to, I'm not a Michigan guy, not a Tom Brady guy, but it's greatness. How do you deny greatness? Like, I saw Flannel Sam going nuts on Twitter last night, clowning Tom Brady, saying, oh, the geriatric quarterback, get him out of there. Tom Brady, the best of all time.
And the fact that he's playing at a high level at 45 years old, like, the longevity, I think, is the most important thing. I mean, even this year, in a year where the Bucs looked terrible offensively, he still threw for almost 5,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Like, Jared Goff threw for, 28 touchdowns and around that number of picks, and that was a great year by Jared Goff. Tom Brady did that nonchalantly with a terrible offense. I mean, Tom Brady, I don't understand the disrespect. I mean, we have our guy Maz, who always finds a way to take a shot at him, but at the end of the day, that's the GOAT. And regardless of what happened last night, he's probably going to play another year in this league.
And I think that's what bothers me the most is guys like Maz. They're just preying on someone's downfall so they can finally have their moment of being right. Like, Tom Brady's not the best anymore. And it's like, yeah, he's not. He's 97 years old, and that's fine. We can agree he is old as hell, right? but you can't take away the 6 Super Bowls and then don't acknowledge them. That's what really drives me nuts, is going on Twitter and seeing guys like Maz and Flannel Sam celebrating somebody falling off from being the greatest of all time.
No, like for a man...
Haterism.
It is hate. It's haterade. Drinking the haterade. I mean, for a guy who has the most career quarterback wins, most career passing attempts, most career passing completions, touchdowns, yards, most pass completions in a season, like the stats go on. I mean, Tom Brady owns pretty much every one of these quarterback statistical records. A lot of that has to do with longevity, but it's also efficiency. He's been productive, and I think next season we're going to see. I don't know what team he's going to. There's a couple teams I got in mind, but
where do you see him winding up?
I don't know. Something tells me that, the way it ended with Derek Carr in Las Vegas, it sounds to me that Las Vegas, even though I don't think that's a Super Bowl roster and it's in a really, really tough division. Josh McDaniels, Devontae Adams, if they bring back Josh Jacobs. I mean, I think offensively it's intriguing. I just don't know. I mean, defensively, that team, the Raiders got a lot of work to do. So I don't know. I don't know the best route. 49ers have been mentioned as well. But
49ers have 7 quarterbacks right now.
But he's from the area, grew up a 49er fan. I don't know. But I know Tom Brady will play another year in this league. I don't think he'll end like that. If you saw the press conference, it sounded like he was saying bye, like he was retiring. I think that was more so saying bye to the Bucs. It was more like, hey, appreciate you guys. Love you all. I'm out. Deuces.
What do you think about a return to the Patriots? Because Mac Jones may not be that guy.
He might not be that guy.
He looked good last year, regressed this year.
And I've seen that float around. I think it was Julian Edelman who said it was Rob Gronkowski who said he'd be shocked if Tom Brady went back to the Patriots, and that kind of lets you know the relationship that's already there. I know it's been reconciled, but still, I'd be shocked if he went back to the Patriots. I really would. What receivers does he have?
I mean, what receivers did he ever have? Besides the 1 year with Randy Moss.
But that's why he left New England, because they weren't. Yeah. He went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all these guys. If he goes back to the Patriots, you got what? Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers. Don't forget about Jacoby Myers.
There you go.
But he's going to go to the team with probably the most talent, and they need a quarterback to get them over the hump.
That's Booner in the WoodwardSports.com chat. Tom Brady to Detroit. And that's interesting. Like 2 years ago, if you said that, or even a year ago, it's like, man, I would really want that. Now, would you want Tom Brady over Jared Goff and what's going on with the Detroit Lions right now? And it may be blasphemous to say that. Like, I would rather have Jared Goff over Tom Brady?
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense coming out of my mouth.
No, it doesn't. I was tagged in something on Twitter last night. I checked it out. It was like, hey, Jeff, by the way, Tom Brady comes to Detroit and he wins a Super Bowl here, and he starts naming off, really good offensive line. He has weapons. He's got Ben Johnson if he stays. I know it makes sense, but it makes sense. But it's funny because he goes, if he wins in Detroit, he will be solidified. I'm like, he's already solidified. But that would be like the icing on the cake. You come to Detroit to win a Super Bowl, but no, he's not. He's not coming here. There's no way.
Are you sure?
No.
You sure? If you're Brad Holmes, are you at least picking up the phone?
No, I'm not.
Everybody's complaining about how bad the backup situation. Imagine Tom Brady's your backup. I mean, you signed both of them. Like, hey, Tom, we got the bag for you. Come on up and ride the pine.
Now we have Goff being groomed behind Brady. Now it's the complete opposite.
Yes.
But no, it's going to be Goff. Goff had a good year this year.
Matt Carey on the WoodwardSports.com chat had the same idea. Brady is the backup to Goff. Euperism says Goff greater than Brady. Same type of quarterback, no way. Jay Will fan says Brady proven, Goff equals nothing. Michael Patterson says.
Yeah, no, that's a terrible match. I would love to see Brady and Dan Campbell, but they're essentially like the same age. I think Dan Campbell's only a couple years older than him. Be like two dudes drinking some beers, hanging out, winning some games together. No, it's not happening. There's no way in hell.
I don't think Brady's drinking. He's drinking that avocado tequila, or vodka, or whatever the hell trendy Brady drinks.
Yeah, he's not coming to Detroit with this weather. He needs his Tampa weather. That's why Las Vegas. I mean, hey.
Vegas would be a good spot for him.
Yeah, and he gets Josh McDaniels along with it.
Yeah, so I just hope last night's game wasn't the last you see of Tom Brady. And honestly, if you go back to last year, if I was Tom Brady, that's how I would have preferred to go out, right?
I agree.
You did your job. You got your offense all the way down the field. You scored. Unfortunately for you, Matthew Stafford got the ball back and drove his team down the field, but that wasn't on you. That was on the defense. You could have left the league knowing my very last drive was a game go-ahead drive. I did my job. And think about all the other stuff he was dealing with this year. Going through a divorce. I went through a divorce. That ain't easy on the mental. I'll tell you that much.
Very public. Very, very public divorce.
And even ex-teammates, tweeting out pictures with his wife. Antonio Brown doing that stuff. That didn't happen to me. And I couldn't imagine being Tom Brady trying to stay focused. But you give up all of that. You give up your entire life, everything you built to go get this Super Bowl, and you get shut down at home week 1 in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's not a good way to go out. But on top of that, too, you mentioned it that he had injuries, too, to his offensive line specifically, but still injuries everywhere. It took a quarter of the season for Chris Godwin to get back. The Bucs had a lot of adversity, and I think they do miss Bruce Arians a lot. I think not having Bruce Arians there, like Todd Bowles, he's okay, but Byron Leftwich, that offense looked, anemic without Bruce Arians there in the picture. I remember Byron Leftwich just a year ago was the hottest candidate available, and now fast forward, he might get fired from the Buccaneers. Like that offense is atrocious, and it's not because of Brady. And
that's something that we're going to talk about later on in the show today when we talk about Ben Johnson. Because Ben Johnson is the hot commodity right now. Byron Leftwich was the hot commodity 2 years ago. And now, like you said, he may get fired from his job. That's why these guys jump ship kind of premature sometimes, because that opportunity may not be there for you the next year.
Right. No, and that's why I've always said I will never blame a man for going out and taking guaranteed money and an opportunity to get a promotion, to be a head coach. That's every guy's dream who's a coordinator and assistant coach. And for all that money guaranteed, say whatever you want. I mean, I've spoke down on Nathaniel Hackett, but I'm never going to talk down on his pockets because he still is collecting about $30 million left. So, hey, it's life. I mean, at the end of the day, these guys, although, you go to a situation you might not like, if it doesn't work out, I mean, you'll be fine. Trust me.
That's the thing. Like, don't feel bad for any NFL head coach.
Cliff Kingsbury went to Thailand on a one-way ticket and took his model girlfriend and said, all right, we're chilling here. I'm not coming back until I decide to come back.
Remember when they did the COVID draft and Cliff Kingsbury was in his house and it was like the baddest house you've ever seen on the planet? Like, these guys are doing fine, man. Yeah. Even if they get fired, they're still making tens of millions of dollars. And money can't buy happiness, but it sure prevents a lot of sadness.
Yeah, it's like Matt Patricia. He got fired. He went to the Patriots, didn't become the official OC, didn't get the tag on so he can keep getting checks from the Detroit Lions, but he might be one of the highest paid OCs out there. Awful. Now he's not an OC no more, but my gosh. Those guys are collecting checks, no doubt.
Well, a place you don't have to break the bank to go hang out and have a good time, that is the Monroe Street Midway. Go to deckedoutdetroit.com and you can check it out. It's right downtown, right by Campus Martius there off Monroe and Woodward. And you go down, you can shop, you can eat, you can play. They have a huge slide that you go down with a big inner tube, have a good time. They have an arcade down there, obviously a bar, and little shops. So make sure if you're out and about, you head downtown Detroit, deckedoutdetroit.com for the Monroe Street Midway.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. Because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Alta, because at Alta, uptime matters.
Uptime.
Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on woodwardsports.com. Thank you guys for being a part of the show today, especially everybody in the chat. We appreciate you. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam, who's still under the weather. Jeff Iafrate, the one, the only Mr. Fish, who we let out of the trunk yesterday.
I know, that was pretty nice of you guys.
Yeah.
From the trunk to the studio, Fish.
How did it feel, by the way? 2 shows in a row after like a year off. Did it feel different?
I haven't done 2 morning shows in a while. I've done like 2 Armani and Edward.
Yeah, you've done shows, but first time back in the morning show in a while.
It's nice, I stopped, got my Birmingham roast coffee in the morning. Like the old routine came through.
Yeah.
Jeff got his white girl coffee. Look at Jeff drinking this non-whipped frap.
All right, you know what? Don't make fun of me.
Soy. Mocha,
gluten-free,
save the whales.
This is funny too because it's all full circle, right? We got Fish, Stick, me, Alex. This is like the old crew, man.
And guess what, Adam? I didn't have to get it for you.
Oh yeah.
Next time, get it for yourself.
Yes, I'm a grown-ass man. I can get my own coffee.
Yeah.
Fish, what did you think of Tom Brady's slide tackle last night?
I thought it was interesting.
Was it good form compared to a soccer player, or critique it for me?
No, it was good form. I mean, he got in there, and there's no ball on the ground for him to get at, but no, it was good form. I mean, you're just going leg first, trying to get the ball.
Yeah.
Except there's no ball there. But no, it was fine, good form.
I thought it was awful. I thought it was awful. What are you doing, Tom Brady? Like, I'm sitting up here defending Tom Brady, talking about how he's the greatest, and I misspoke. He had 7 Super Bowls, not 6. Thank you guys for fact-checking.
7.
Always appreciate that. But, then you're a 40-year-old man. You can't be you know the rules by now. Yeah. This is that's Little League stuff that Tom Brady was doing.
At Tom Brady's age, you gotta get a little dirty sometimes. He's 45. He ain't got it. He ain't got it no more. You gotta give and take with Tom
Just back away, man.
Yeah.
Make the business decision. You don't have to slide tackle people.
Yeah.
It was a bad look for Tom Brady. Because Flannel Sam somewhere.
But that didn't tarnish his legacy, though, because he almost murdered a guy yesterday.
Yeah. Well, can't take people out by the legs, Fish.
No,
I know you
Mac
can't.
Jones would know better than anybody. I mean, he's trying to kill people when he throws interceptions or fumbles.
We were talking a little bit about Flannel Sam dogging Tom Brady. We're going to go through some of his tweets later on in the show because he was on the next level last night on his Twitter. But that kind of brings us back to Michigan. Tom Brady, Flannel Sam loves Michigan. Don't know why he doesn't love Tom Brady. But the University of Michigan dropped the news yesterday. Everybody could take a big... whew.
Okay, were we supposed to do this 3 weeks ago when he put that message out?
No.
And then he goes over and takes NFL jobs?
No.
He put out a message 3 weeks ago. What was it? I'm ecstatic to be coming back to Michigan.
Well, he said, I expect to be.
Wow.
The word expect. That's why he left room. He left room, Fish.
A little bit of that room.
Yeah, but just don't say anything.
Well, yeah, that's usually the best. But if you don't do that, then we get to make up whatever scenario we want. Like, if he's not saying anything, it's like, well, he hasn't said anything. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. So maybe he was trying to get ahead of it. But here's the deal.
What if he still goes to the NFL now?
He's not going to. They announced it yesterday.
I know, but you're telling me if a good team, if he gets a good offer, he's going to say no?
For this year, yeah. I'm not saying ever. I'm not saying he's in college forever, but this year, I believe he's committed to Michigan. That's what the university president believes. That's what the AD believes, and Harbaugh backed it up yesterday.
Okay, let's say you're at Michigan. You just, got whatever, and you get a call from an NFL team saying they really want you. You're telling me you're going to decline the offer?
I'm
Way
not,
more
I'm
than
not Jim
Michigan.
Harbaugh. No, if you're talking me here, I'm taking the NFL gig. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I got no allegiance to anybody, and like our friend Neil Rule from 11 to 1, I'm about that bag. So you pay me the money, I'm going. It's that simple.
Right.
But for Jim Harbaugh, I don't think money motivates him like the rest. He's got plenty of money. Like he took a couple $1 million pay cut. It was like, I'm cool with it. Who else can do that? Not many people on this planet.
Right.
So Jim Harbaugh coming back to University of Michigan, and it looks like Blake Corum's coming back to University of Michigan, and pretty much everybody on that offensive line is coming back to University of Michigan.
And they stacked some guys through that transfer portal, too, so they're making moves. And I was, honestly, to say it, I mean, Jim coming back, I'm finally happy it's over with. Let's be honest here. Happy for Michigan fans. But let's be honest, he is a damn good coach. I think that kind of gets lost with every year year, the last 2 years of him flirting with the NFL. I know fans get frustrated, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. Like back-to-back Big Ten titles, back-to-back, you demolish Ohio State back-to-back years, once at Ohio State in the horseshoe, back-to-back playoff appearances, regardless of falling short. I mean, he's been a game away from the big game twice. So for Jim and Michigan fans, this is good news. Now, I was a little surprised because I did think there was a real possibility this year he would end up in Denver. I mean, he turned 60 in December. So from Jim's perspective, it's like, hey, if you really want to go back to the NFL, you gotta make that decision at least relatively soon because the league is getting younger. It's not getting any older. As Ben Johnson, a 36-year-old, it's more and more likely he's going to become a head coach. I mean, he was, and for Jim's sake, he was an excellent head coach in the NFL. We all know the success he had with the 49ers. But I wonder if teams had as much interest in Jim as Jim had in the NFL. Because the only team he really communicated with was Denver, and he has a relationship with that family dating back to Stanford. I mean, he talked with David Tepper with the Carolina Panthers, but other than that, he wasn't really, at the top of many people's lists.
Yeah, but it was similar last year, really. Remember last year, only the Minnesota Vikings was like the real interview process that he went through, and he was actually there when they announced, or what was it, when the high school kids declare where they're going to go. Signing day.
Yeah,
that's where he was
day.
On signing day, getting interviewed. But if you got a coach like Jim Harbaugh, you know what to expect, right, as a university. This guy is going to get NFL looks every single year. That's why either you boss up, give him to a contract that's so ironclad he can't do it, or pay him enough money to where he'll never want to leave, or understand that we have a good commodity here, and every year he's going to show interest. Now, where you get to know him better is where are his loyalties? Where do they lie?
Right.
He's still trying to accomplish. I would have been more concerned if they won a national championship this year about Jim Harbaugh leaving than the fact that they lost in the first round of the college football playoffs again.
Yeah.
Because he's still got unfinished business to do at Michigan. He still wants to match Bo Schembechler, or beat Bo Schembechler, and just honor his mentor. The only other place I could ever see him leaving for is Indy, because that's the only other place he has like
he's in the
heart
Ring
ties.
of Honor.
Yeah, he has heart ties too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And on top of that too, it's funny because the same day it was announced he was coming back, CJ Stroud declared for the NFL draft. Not saying those two things are intertwined, but let's be honest here. Michigan has a real opportunity next season to do the same thing, to win the Big Ten and to make the college football playoff. So in terms of, from Jim's perspective, I think it's a great move. I think Michigan should be happy. He's coming back. He's a damn good coach. But at the end of the day, maybe the NFL, the possibility of him becoming a coach is slowly kind of dying down, in my opinion. I don't know how many more of these opportunities. He can't just flirt every single year. It's going to have to be, what are you doing, Jim? Do you want to stay at Michigan, or do you want to try the NFL? Because if he's 65, 63, 64, I don't think there'll be – I mean, come on. You're not – This is a league where... I mean,
Pete Carroll's probably the anomaly, right?
Pete, Bill...
97 years old. Right, but they've proven it over time.
Absolutely.
And have been there. Yeah, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, though, you don't turn down these interviews, and this is a life lesson to anybody watching right now. Never turn down an interview, even if you know you don't want the job. Even if you know it's not going anywhere, because you never know where that GM is going to wind up in 3 to 5 years. Right. You never know, along the way, what coaches you're going to run into. And, Jeff, I'd never want you to leave Woodward Sports, but if someone wants to interview you, it's good for you to go through that interview process with another media company. It's good for you to gain value, so it helps you here even. So if I'm Michigan, I'm happy that I have a coach that's being pursued by NFL teams, not a coach that nobody cares about.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, too, for Jim, you're looking at what Michigan has right in front of them, the opportunity. And I think Jim, along with a lot of things, let's be honest, for Jim's sake, you're going to the NFL, it's different. You're working with NFL GMs, you're working with a plethora, you're working with the front office. With college at Michigan, it's like, hey, it's his playground. Jim has a lot of control at Michigan, and I'm not going to fault him for that. It's different. I mean, we saw with him in the 49ers, that was kind of the falling out he had. I mean, Trent Baalke, who was the GM at the time, him and Jim didn't get along. And even though he won games and got to the Super Bowl, it's a lot tougher when you go to the NFL and, you got an ego. You want a lot of control, and I don't think any team would ever give Jim that type of control. That just doesn't really happen. I mean, the last team that did it that failed dramatically was Bill O'Brien with Houston, and he traded away.
You don't make him the GM. No. You don't make him the GM.
No, so
coach.
If you were to go to the NFL, you better hope he loves the GM he's going to. So for Michigan, he's got a lot more control. I think it fits Jim better, and Michigan fans should be happy.
Well, did you hear what Deion Sanders said about coaching in the NFL? Someone asked him if he ever aspired. He's like, I don't want to coach rich men. I want to coach young men that I can help mold their lives. And that's the decision you got to make if you are a coach and you want to make the jump from college to pros. College kids will listen to you, and they cycle through every 4 years, so your message stays fresh. You're going into a locker room with a guy, like there's a Tom Brady situation. You walk in there, and Tom Brady's older than you, been in the league longer than you've been coaching. What are you going to tell Tom Brady? You better hope you earn his respect so he will listen to you, but that's a lot tougher to get a locker room of grown-ass millionaires that don't need your money, they don't need anything from you. To me, it's a lot tougher situation, and that's why I think Jim Harbaugh stays in college, because he's the type of rub you the wrong way type guy.
Right.
And in college, all right, you rubbed him the wrong way, 3 years, he's out. Next one in.
And for Jim's sake, too, I think overall, if he stays at Michigan, it's easier because guys that are committing to Michigan, even this season, you had to kind of wait. You got to wait what Jim's going to do. Now, if you know Jim's going to be at Michigan for the long run, I think it's much easier to get guys to commit, right? Especially with the NIL. I know there's different things now with college football that Jim has to get used to, but for Jim's sake, don't do this anymore. It'll be better for Michigan. If you stay at Michigan, now guys have a clearer mind, like, okay, if I'm committing to Michigan, I get Jim for my entire 3 years. I'm there, rather than committing, are you going to be here next year or not? Like Kirby Smart or Nick Saban. I know he had times where he was flirting with the NFL, but overall, people know that those guys are going to be back at the university. So for Jim's sake, just for consistency, if he stays at Michigan, I think it'll help them in recruiting.
Way early prediction. What do you see Michigan doing next year now that they got Harbaugh back?
I think they're winning the Big Ten, making the college football playoff again.
Yeah.
I don't see a team in the Big Ten that would challenge them this year. I just don't. Especially no C.J. Stroud. I mean, Marvin Harrison might transfer. I don't know why he would stay at Ohio State and go to USC, play with Caleb Williams if I'm Marvin Harrison Jr. So Ohio State, they're going to have to – they got guys coming in that are freshmen, but I don't think they're going to be able to take down Michigan this season. I just don't.
Yeah, Ohio State, I mean, they've been pretty damn good about restocking and rebuilding as they go, so I think they'll be fine. You know, this happened a couple years ago when they lost like 3 quarterbacks and ended up being a Heisman candidate.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You know, was it the J.T. Barrett era that season there? And Cordell Patterson, was it? Not Cordell Patterson, Cordell
Jones.
Yep. Cordell Jones came in and lit it up. So Ohio State, when they lose people, they just bring them right on in, man. They got a good program going on.
No, Ohio State, I think, will be in the picture, but Michigan, man, this opportunity, go back. Now you got JJ for one more season, Donovan, you got one of the best backfields in the country. They didn't really lose. They still got Will Johnson, who's a fantastic corner I like a lot. They got talent. So Michigan should be back in that picture next season.
All right, well, we're going to talk about Ben Johnson coming up next right here on The Morning. Are you clapping over there, Fish? You excited about that topic?
Yeah,
He's excited.
Fine topic, yeah.
It is a fine topic, and we will discuss that next. But first, tell about Guardian Alarm.
Let me tell you about them, guys, because Guardian Alarm, it's the new year, and they want to hook you up with Guardian Alarm. Listen, customized solutions from real experts. They got professional technicians that take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. They also have 24/7 professional monitoring. You can call them any day or night, and they will make sure a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you until you need. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work, and people that are proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT for more information.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
The big fella, Ryan Romani. We don't get to call him the big fella anymore.
No. He's a good-looking fella now.
He is a good-looking fella, but you know what? He's been on that custom health. He's been dropping that weight. He no longer looks like that picture. The before picture is no longer accurate. He is now the after picture, which everybody aims to be when you are looking to lose weight, and Custom Health can get you your custom health weight loss program specifically designed just for you. That's why it's called Custom Health. 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-8446. Call Custom Health today and start on your weight loss journey. All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show right here on woodwardsports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam today. He is feeling under the weather. Not sure when he's going to be back. He's like, man, I woke up with a fever. I'm sweating. So I told him to drink a hot totty. He had no idea what that was.
Of
no
course
surprise.
he
It's
didn't.
Adam. And I was like, bro, it's just whiskey, honey, and lemon juice. Like it's an Irish tradition. Pound that, it'll start the sweat going. It'll break your fever.
Yeah.
He's like, I need more than whiskey. Like,
Yeah, I texted him last night. Not a shocker. He didn't answer.
He didn't answer you, Fish?
No.
What time did you text him?
I think right after he sent the prep out, because he sent the prep, and I was like, oh, wow, does that mean he's doing the show? I didn't know if he was doing the show or not.
Yeah,
Because I saw he sent it to you, but I didn't know if he sent it to both just because he didn't know what he was going to do, because he texted us yesterday morning saying he was out. So I didn't know if he was going to do that again.
Yeah, no, he let us know last night.
Because I know he wanted to do the show probably. So I didn't know if he was going to sleep on it.
loves to do the show.
Yeah.
He lives to do the show. I'm surprised he's not trying to V-mix in right now just to be a part of the show.
Well, if you weren't here, he would.
Definitely. So, Adam, get better. Everybody in the chat worrying about Adam getting canceled or we fire it. No. No. That's never going to happen.
It was 6:33, and he sent the prep out at what, 6:31? So 2 minutes after.
Well,
He has a hard
You
time.
just missed him.
He has a hard time with 2 minutes. That's a common theme I'm noticing with him.
With Adam?
Yeah, 2 minutes and Adam. Yeah.
2 minute man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hard time with that.
Hard time with that. Let's talk about Ben Johnson, Detroit Lions offensive coordinator for the moment. He's getting a lot of interest, and one team in particular is really just kind of pounding their chest about how interested they are in this guy.
And Stick, I don't typically say I told you so.
Uh-oh.
But Carolina was my first worry. It's been for weeks. And this is before he even took the interview with Carolina. The reason for that is probably why David Tepper loves him so much, which, number one, you knew he was going to nail every interview he's in. He's a super intelligent guy. He's a great communicator. He kind of fits the mold. I mean, it's a copycat league. Guys want to find young, innovative offensive coordinators. He checks those boxes. But on top of that, born in South Carolina, grew up in North Carolina, went to A.C. Reynolds High School in North Carolina, went to North Carolina University.
I don't like that.
He's been in the NFL for a while, and he's just a super intelligent guy. I believe he has his degree at North Carolina in like mathematics and communications. Like, he's a guy that, typical guy, you get an interview and David Tepper's talking to him, he's going to be impressive to anybody. That's why my thought process was always Ben Johnson. It's up to him. I don't believe it's going to be the other way around. I don't think Ben will sit there wanting a job and he's waiting for a team to offer him. I think teams will offer him. I think it's going to be up to him if he feels like he's ready and he wants to take that next step. Because me and Adam talk about this a lot. Some guys are better as coordinators than head coaches. I don't know what Ben Johnson could be. I don't know if he'd be a good head coach or he's strictly just a really, really good offensive coordinator. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to fault a man for getting his bag, like Neil says. So, like I said, guaranteed money. Even if you get offered by Carolina, you're going to have either Sam Darnold or a veteran quarterback, maybe you draft one. You want Ben Johnson in that building to groom whoever that is or help whoever that is. You saw what he was able to do with Jared Goff. If they can get a veteran in there, Ben Johnson's the guy I would get. Now, the thought process, this is where I was a little taken back by it. If I'm David Tepper and you just fired Matt Rule, I know he never had experience in the NFL, but why go that same unproven route? Usually teams overcorrect from their last hire. Like, if I bring in a Ben Johnson and it doesn't go well, I'm going to go get a guy who's been a head coach. I'm going to go get someone the opposite.
But Rule
Seems
came
like
from college.
Right, and that's probably the difference, right? Ben Johnson's been in the NFL, but still never been a head coach. Matt Rule, never been a head coach. It would make sense to me, but at the same time, it's really up to Ben Johnson. It's what does he want to do? Is Carolina the right organization for him? He's from there. He has ties there. If he feels like he's ready, go get your bag, Ben. I got no problem with it.
I got a big problem with it. I don't want to see any part of this offense broken up. I mean, we talked yesterday about the backfield and how Amon-Ra St. Brown likes DeAndre Swift and doesn't want the backfield broken up. I don't want the brain trust broken up either. And unfortunately, right now, Ben Johnson seems to be the lead candidate for Carolina. Everybody else has kind of fizzled out. I haven't really heard buzz about anybody else, so at least you could take comfort in that. It's not like 7 dudes going after your girl now. It's just one guy that's super interested, and you hope that Ben Johnson's strong enough to say no. But my concern is when and if he leaves, how do you replace him? What's up next? And one thing that I found out about Ben Johnson last week, and I wrote an article about it on WoodwardSports.com, and I never thought I'd say this. Thank you, Matt Patricia. Did you know Matt Patricia hired Ben Johnson?
Yeah.
I did not know that till last week.
Yeah.
He was like a holdover from that regime.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been here for a little while. Tight end coach, even going back to Miami, was with Dan Campbell, working with that staff as well. He's been around the league for a while. I mean, he's been, he worked, as soon as he graduated college, he went to Boston College as a graduate assistant, and he's been really in the NFL since 2012. So he's been, a 10-year career, at different positions: offensive assistant quarterback coach, tight ends coach, wide receivers coach. This is why when he first, it said, well, Ben Johnson's the passing game coordinator. You fire Anthony Lynn. I'm like, this guy has coached every position in the NFL. He's coached wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks. Like he's a perfect fit in my opinion. If I'm a team looking for that next young, I hate saying this, but the next McVay, the young boy genius, it could be Ben. But at the same time, I do trust Dan Campbell's decision making in bringing in that next guy, because a name that I've been throwing around is Tanner Eggstrand. He's the passing game coordinator, and he's the tight ends coach. That was the same role as Ben Johnson when he was promoted to OC. And I just like the idea of hiring from within. I like bringing guys in that are already a part of the staff. I know people throw around names like a Frank Reich or a Cliff Kingsbury. I like giving guys the promotions from within because it shows, hey, good organizations do that. I mean, go look at Kyle Shanahan. It's like you take away Mike McDaniel, the next year you're like, who is their OC? And then you look it up, it's another assistant that was promoted. Like guys are just, it's like a guys just coming up the ranks from the same organization.
Yeah, like that's exactly what it should be. You should have a coaching tree, and that's why when you look at a Bill Parcells and you look at a Bill Belichick, actually, let me rephrase that. Bill Belichick's coaching tree, not so great once they get out on their own. But let's take a Bill Parcells, right? Bill Parcells, and then it leads to a Sean Payton, then it leads to a Dan Campbell, and now it's leading to a Ben Johnson. Like, that's pretty awesome to be able to affect that many generations of football and to keep bringing it. One thing that's getting brought up in the WoodwardSports.com chat, what about all the OCs that have been hot that nobody cares about anymore? Kellen Moore. They're like, last night may be a game that puts him back in the map and him back in front of some people. Eric Bieniemy, people always talk about how he doesn't get a fair look. I'm under the assumption, and I could be dead wrong, that Bieniemy's going to take over once Andy Reid leaves, and that's why he's not actively pursuing anything. Yeah. He knows, like, listen, I'm going to get the keys to this Corvette. I'm willing to wait a couple years. That's why I don't think Eric Bieniemy's getting other gigs.
No, and that's fair. I would agree with you there. And even a guy like Byron Leftwich, like we kind of talked about last season, one of the hottest candidates. Me and Adam had a prediction he was going to Jacksonville. It was Doug Peterson. Now it worked out for Jacksonville. But this is why, if you're an offensive coordinator, people say, well, just go back to the Lions, and you're going to have another good year with a good offense. Nothing's ever promised. Like, you really don't know what's going to happen. Every season's different. So if you're Ben Johnson and you're coming off a season in which you have a top 5 offense, Jared Goff had one of his best seasons of his career, this might be like the opportunity for him to really feel out the process, because 1 year from now, you never know what could happen. If the offense takes a step back, maybe that interest isn't there like it was before. Now, it could be wrong, but that's kind of the risk you take as an OC. Unless you're Sean Payton, you get the pick of the litter. I mean, these guys just want to be head coaches. So that's why I won't fault him for jumping and taking an opportunity this season. Now, with guys that have been waiting for a couple seasons, it's not fair, but at the end of the day, nothing's fair in life. I mean, this is what the NFL is. I mean, I can't say, well... Do
you expect regression next year for the Lions offense?
I wouldn't say that.
Even if they keep Ben Johnson?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
I do, a little bit.
Okay, go on.
Go ahead. Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say I don't, but again, you never know. I mean, with injuries or simply just opposing teams figuring out the offense, I mean, you never know what could happen. I think every season's different. For me to sit here and say the Lions are going to be a top 3 offense next season,
that's
it's a little too
like
premature.
The bar is just here now, right?
Exactly.
It's not like, oh, they were top 10. I believe they'll be top 10, but are they going to be a top 3, top 5 offense next year? part of me is concerned a little bit because once you put all this stuff on tape, people can start game planning for you a little bit better. And I think that's what's going to happen next year. I don't see them falling flat on their face, but are they going to be setting the world on fire again? Maybe not. Maybe so. And that's the one thing that Ben Johnson has to weigh with his decision.
Right.
Like, hey, if I come back and this is a top 7 offense next year, not as glamorous as it was this year, am I going to get the same opportunities? Or maybe he's looking over the fence, looking at the coaching options for next year, like, okay, this guy's on the hot seat. That guy, I would love that job. None of these really interest me because what does interest you about Carolina?
Not much. But it is one of 32 jobs.
I understand that, but you want to set yourself up for success too, right?
Yeah, true.
Like you don't want to jump on the grenade like Cooley did in Texas and for the Texans, and all of a sudden you're out of a job forever, right?
Lovie Smith, same one. Yeah, I get it.
So, like, especially as a first timer, you want to set yourself up for success. Why would you go to a team that needs so much work?
Yeah, especially a team that needs I don't want to say a culture shift, but a leader to walk in there. Like Ben's walking into Houston. Like there's a lot of things that need to change in Houston. I like Ben Johnson to be a great communicator. I think he's a good leader. I don't know how good of a leader he is. I don't know if his voice commands a locker room. But at the same time, Kevin O'Connell working out for the Vikings. Like you just need a guy that players want to play hard for. I think Ben's such a great dude. He's a great communicator. Players are going to love him no matter where he goes. But to your point, Stick, yeah, you're looking at situations and you're like, if I'm Ben, I at least want a quarterback. I think that's number one.
What pick is Carolina this year?
I think they have like 8 or 9. I have to double check, but it isn't. You're not going to get one of the best quarterbacks unless they trade up to get him.
So yeah, because right now it's Sam Darnold, PJ Walker.
Yeah, they pick at 9.
They pick at 9.
Yes.
Eesh. Yeah, if I'm Ben Johnson going into that, I'm thinking, okay, if I take this job, I'm going to want my guy at quarterback. Is that guy Sam Darnold?
No, it is not. I will answer that for you. But but hey, I mean, you never know. Guys are going to be available. You could get a Jimmy G. Who knows? I mean, he's going to be probably on the market. I don't know. Carolina, there's still a lot of work to do, but you're walking into a really good defense, a good run game, and a good offensive line.
Run game.
Oh yeah, we saw that over 300 yards. But they got some pieces there in Carolina. So I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't make any sense if he goes to Carolina. I think any situation. I think the one that would be the most surprising, I know people have thrown around Houston, but I don't get Houston. No. Houston needs like DeMeco Ryans to me would be the perfect fit in Houston because he has that Dan Campbell aura. Like you bring in a guy that can change a culture, command men. Like Ben to me, he's just like that rocket scientist you want to bring in to fix your offense. I don't know if you can fix an entire culture with Ben Johnson. I just don't know.
And that's the thing. Being a head coach, you're responsible for everything, not just the offense.
Right. There you go.
And so you're right. You need a rah-rah guy sometimes, like you've seen that cycle happen with the Detroit Lions. You bring in a Jim Schwartz when the team is down to give them back that, hey, we got fighting us, and then all right, now they're better, we'll hand it off to a Jim Caldwell. And Dan Campbell is hopefully the evolution of both. He's the rah-rah guy that can get you back on track, but since he's also learning so well on the job, he's your coach of the future too.
Yeah, and I don't think Dan gets enough credit for how smart he is. Like I think that's, and I know people, you see the rah-rah, you see the videos, he's a funny guy. But if Ben leaves, I have faith in Dan because I think Dan has a lot more. He has his hands in this offense a lot more than people think. And I do think his ability to go and hire assistant coaches, he's proven he can do that. So whatever happens, trust in Dan Campbell to make those decisions.
Did you watch the ManningCast last night with Dan Campbell?
Yeah, I did.
All right, let's talk about that coming up next.
Great,
let's talk about that coming up next. WoodwardSports.com. Thank you to everybody checking in on the chat. You want to tell them about Big Boy?
Let me tell you, winter time in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. You can try the classic meatloaf or Cajun chicken Alfredo. But how about breakfast as well? The stuffed potato pancakes are back. The Lumberjack Santa Fe Garden, the Blockbuster. You can try it all. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
If you're like Fish and you want to get a tan, although the sun's not necessarily out right now, you head over to Chili Peppers Tanning because you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. You can also join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. You'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your Vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan?
Tell them
Actually
Fish.
did get to see the sun the last couple days. That was nice.
A little different.
To look out the window.
A little different.
Someone's phone's going off.
That's my phone, Fish.
And that's my favorite.
Is that what I think it is?
What?
Your alarm to get up in the morning?
No, it's a different alarm.
Okay. I was thinking that's what it was.
Fish,
I think I get up at 9 every day.
I mean, I'm not going to say when you get here, but...
Get here about 9:30 every day.
Well, yeah, and you live like 7 minutes away. I've been to your house several times.
I know.
I was actually going to tell you yesterday if I had to pick you up at the U-Haul, but I guess not because you're here, so...
Yeah, no, I rented the trailer, not the big U-Haul truck. Whenever we do the live broadcasts, I get a big trailer, put the desk in there, all the sound equipment, the computer, microphones.
So when you
all
get the
that
trailer, you just hook it on the back of your...
Hook it up to the back of my Jeep.
Smart.
Wouldn't be possible without Stick,
beep.
man. He's the heartbeat.
It's a good time. Love setting up for you guys. Love it. My favorite thing to do.
My favorite.
Hey, Flannel Sam sets up.
Huh?
Flannel Sam sets up.
Flannel Sam does show up, and he helps me out, which is amazing. Alex Westfall stays after, and he normally helps me wrap
look
up.
at that.
We love Sam Flannel for that, but we don't love him for his tweets sometimes. Sometimes I see his Twitter. He's going a little crazy last night.
Yeah, Westfall, were you able to find that? All right, well, let's do that in like 10 minutes. Let's go over Flannel Sam's tweets in a couple minutes. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show on WoodwardSports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam today. Jeff Iafrate on the desk. Fish rocking his All Blacks hoodie. And, of course, Alex Westfall. Westy, can we talk about how you missed your shot on vacation?
Oh, boy. Blasting out, eh?
It was an alley-oop.
What are we talking about here?
You know, I don't know why Stick brought up, but he's bringing it up. How do you know?
Because I looked over there and I saw his beautiful face, and it got me thinking. Alex Westfall just went to Scottsdale, Arizona on a boys' trip, right? Golf trip?
Yes, golf trip.
Golf trip. Good time. We've all had golf trips with the boys. You know how they get.
Hey, Arizona, a lot of women over in Scottsdale.
Westy was in a club, in a bar, I'm assuming. Girl walks up to him. And what'd she say to you?
We don't have to talk about this.
Well, I'm going to talk about it whether you're talking about it or not. So either you can narrate the story or I will.
You could.
No, we were in a bar and some girl came up and said I look like Nick Jonas.
There's your alley-oop.
Can you sing his songs?
But did you pursue her after that?
Oh, boy.
Was she ugly?
She wasn't bad.
And you were on vacation, so what's the problem?
I messed up.
He pulled a Jim Harbaugh with the NFL. He's flirting with it, but he never fully committed.
Yeah. So that was the regret from the trip. That was a mistake.
That's going to be a regret the rest of your life.
I'm afraid so.
But it's also a very good lesson to learn. Whenever a girl comes up to you and says you look like any celebrity, unless it's like the dude that played Sloth in Goonies, you're usually down. She's usually down. And especially when she throws out a Jonas brother. She's been thinking about sleeping with a Jonas brother forever. You could have been that.
He fumbled the bag. He fumbled the bag. It's okay, Alex.
Ball's on the ground.
Ball's on the ground.
Knocked on.
Fumble. Tell him, Fish.
Ball's out.
Alex Westfall, you are the man. Thank you for all that you do here at Woodward Sports. Alex doesn't get enough love either.
No, he doesn't. He's amazing. The more important thing is next time you'll be more prepared. All right, you will not fumble your bag no more. I believe in you, Alex. I do.
Anybody ever say you look like a celebrity, Jeff?
I I've been told I look like, you guys might not know him, but Jeff Wittick with my hair when I had long hair. Yeah, he's not really a celebrity, but he's a YouTuber.
Fish.
I haven't gotten a Jonas Brother comparison. Let's be honest.
Right.
With you. I think that's different.
That's a home run
A little
shot.
different, dude.
Fish, anybody ever tell you look like a celebrity?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
No.
All right.
He goes, not that I know of.
In the WoodwardSports.com chat, if you want, let us know what celebrities you think we look like. Obviously, Westfall is a Jonas Brother. Fish is a one of one. I don't think there is another Fish.
No.
I mean, they're out there. You guys act like I'm one of one. There's people like me out there. You just got to find them.
Okay. Well, I'm lucky we found you, buddy.
Yeah.
And the Lions are lucky they found Dan Campbell. And last night, Dan Campbell was on the ManningCast, ESPN2. I got hyped when I saw that tweet come out, and I was super excited. But I got to admit, it wasn't as entertaining as I thought it was going to. Like, I thought I was going to be, like, Hard Knocks entertained. Like, just he's breaking down film, getting me all excited.
Yeah.
And you could tell that, like, the Mannings and him do not have a good rapport. Like, not that they don't like each other, but they just, like, were talking over each other. They were constantly like, oh, no, you go. You go. It was just very disjointed.
Yeah, because I think Dan's an alpha. Like, when you get Dan talking, he can go, man. Like, he can probably run that entire ManningCast by himself. Like, Dan could just keep talking. So it was awesome to see him on there and them acknowledge the season he's had. I mean, for Dan to get national love, it's always a great thing, especially for Detroit. And I thought he did a great job. I mean, he's breaking down the game. I mean, even Peyton Manning was a little impressed. I don't know. I kind of talked about it earlier, but I think people when they first hear or see Dan, it's like, oh, this guy's he's a rah-rah, he's a great motivator. But when he actually starts breaking down the game, like they asked Dan, what motivational speech would you give each team at the halftime? And he literally broke down each team and what he would say to each team, and they were like, yeah, pretty damn correct. Like Dan he's all about his X's and O's. As much as he doesn't look like it, he's a smart guy, and I think he killed it last night.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like he plays this ho hum. I'm not very smart. I don't know what I'm doing. So lucky to be here.
And they played his clips from the Lions where he was like doing all this like funny stuff in the press conferences. He's just sitting there going, damn. Like he's like, I did do all those things.
But at the end of the day, he could be a football genius. And
he could.
That was what Matt Patricia was supposed to be. But when you got to tell people you're a genius, you're probably not a genius. Yeah. When you got to tell somebody you're anything, you're probably not that. Dan Campbell doesn't need to tell you how smart he is. You're watching him. Not only does he have the personality, but he has the intelligence to break down the game film, have some fun with the Mannings. Like they talked to him about going for two and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's like, this Dan Campbell, of course he's going for two here,
Yeah.
But overall, Ryan Armani tweeted out that he thought it was boring. I didn't think it was boring. It just wasn't as intense as I thought it was going to be.
And they tried to set him up, too. They tried to say, oh, yeah, you grew up in Texas, big Cowboys fan. I know you're rooting for the Cowboys tonight. And he's like, whoa. He's like, I'm not rooting for the Cowboys tonight. He goes, I did grow up in Texas, was a Cowboys fan. But he goes, I love how Dan answered the question because he pretty much summed it up by saying, like, I like watching the playoffs just to observe. Like, I want to see these teams, as much as they're not in it, he's like, I'm going to be tuning in just to see, And I love that Dan kind of has that perspective. It's like, hey, it's our fault we didn't make the playoffs. They started 1-6. They lost some games down the stretch. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to be watching these playoffs. I'm still going to be locked in because some of these teams in the NFC, we're going to be facing next year if we make the postseason.
Yeah, he's scouting. He's not just sitting at home enjoying the game like I did on Sunday.
Yeah,
like
taking notes.
He's taking notes because he's looking at all of those teams as competition for next year. And I wonder if he had the same kind of thoughts that I did or possibly you did too, Jeff. And you're sitting there watching like, man, the Lions could have taken these guys.
Yeah.
Man, the Lions, like, what are we doing? We should be in this game.
Yeah.
And that brings me to another topic that I want to discuss later with you about teams with losing records making it into the playoffs, even though they win their division. It hasn't worked out well.
No, it doesn't sit well sometimes.
It doesn't work well, and then you got a team like the Lions who was trending up, and I know they started 1-6. That's their own damn fault. Yeah. But maybe they should look at rewarding winning teams instead of teams that have losing records that win their crappy division.
And it's two sides. It's like one side, I get it. It's not Tampa's fault. Their division stinks, but at the same time, how are you hosting a playoff game 8-9? Like, and the Lions are in the NFC North. You got to win over 13 games this year if you wanted to host the NFC North. So I get where the frustration comes from, and I know of how Eli and Peyton asked him that question. Like, does it not sit well with you watching this game and seeing an 8-9 team host a playoff game? And he's like, I mean, pretty much yes and no. I mean, he didn't want to be too honest because I bet Dan could have went on a rant there, but it has to be. It has to be frustrating. The Lions would have, if they played the Bucs and the Lions played each other to host that game, we'd have a playoff game over at Ford Field. There's no way the Bucs were beating the Lions, man. Like, the Bucs were frauds. I picked them. I was completely wrong. The Lions, they were one of the hottest teams in football towards the end of the season, and it's unfortunate they didn't get in, but to your point, they look like a playoff team. They just didn't get in because of their division.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell, I think he had to tread lightly there because there may be a year that the Lions back into the playoffs with a losing record.
And I would be fine
and they're not
with
going to turn it. That's the thing. Like, it's like, oh, the Bucs shouldn't do that. But if it happened to the Lions, I'd be like, well, the rules is rules. That's how we play.
That's why I can't fault Tampa. Hey, your division stinks. Go win it. They won it. So I would have been the same if Carolina won it. It's like, yeah, is Carolina a good team? Not really, but you won your bad division. I got to give you credit. It's like Bill O'Brien with the Houston Texans. I know we went back and forth with Easy about it, and he was saying Bill O'Brien's overrated. He won his division in a bad division. Like, he still is winning his division. I got to give credit for winning the division because he very well could have came in second or third, but no. I mean, it stinks. It does. The Lions in that division would have went to the playoffs and hosted a playoff game, but
it's like my old English teacher, Mr. Glowacki, used to say on like tests that were graded on a curve. He's like, you don't have to be smart. You just got to be smarter than everybody here.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else is dumb. You don't even have to be smart. You just got to hope that everybody else sucks just like you. And that's what happened to the Texans, and that's what happens to the Bucs this year.
Yeah.
But overall, Dan Campbell on ManningCast, A, B, how do you grade it?
Oh, I'm always going to give Dan an A.
Yeah.
I love it. For going on TV, representing, holding it down for Detroit. I love it, man.
I love how they brought up his red nose.
Yeah.
And he said, like, he didn't care if his nose falls off. He'd, like, put a wooden one on.
Yeah, no, I love it. And Dan's such a good sport, too. Like, all these videos he's made in Detroit, like the kneecap, they played that as soon as he got in the interview. As soon as he joined, you just hear the kneecap intro when he first got here. He's like, all right. He's just kind of like...
And that was interesting because while that was playing, NFL put it up on their YouTube, so you can go watch all 22 minutes of it because I went back and rewatched it this morning. And that was interesting because I liked watching his reaction when that video was playing because, he's... The kneecaps thing to Dan Campbell at this point has to be like, just like, yes.
It's like watching a video you made when you were younger. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, man. I did it. I did it out of passion. It is what it is.
And I'm sure that was an off-the-cuff comment, too. It's not like he had that written down, and now it's become his identity to where he goes on ManningCast, and that's the first thing they address with him. But he was watching it, and he wasn't, like, smiling, and he was just like... Like, all right,
like, here we go again.
We've heard this. We've heard this.
Ask me about kneecaps. It's every interview. It's okay.
But overall, it's nice that the Lions are getting national attention.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
I mean, we saw it last year with Hard Knocks, and then it's kind of carried over to where, we were talking about it mid-season. Like, the Lions are the underdog that America roots for right now.
Yeah, I think so. And I want to get to the point where it's not everybody's little brother. I want to get to the point where it's like, screw the Lions. Like,
yes. I want to be hated.
Yes, absolutely. I'm with you. Not, oh, look at the Lions making the playoffs. I want to be like, damn, screw those teams, or screw that team. I don't want to face them in the playoffs. Like, I want that. And I think they're trending that way with Dan Campbell. I do.
Yeah, I'm sick of the pats on the heads. Like,
me
the
too.
Lions are doing good. We're so happy for you.
Good job.
Yeah, I want to be the team that's like, man, I'm so sick of playing those guys. Like, I want to be the Patriots to where everybody hates them because they were so great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a dynasty. Like, I want haters like Maz who will deny 7 championships, but you're still sitting on 7 championships.
Yeah, and he defends Aaron Rodgers a lot. Love to be the Packers.
Championship for Aaron
Love to be the Packers, but minus the, Aaron Rodgers choking in the playoffs every season. But just getting there, being the big bad man he is. I mean, Lions want to get to that stature, and they will. I do. I believe that.
Well, you know who never chokes? Swiss Insurance. They always got your back.
Yeah, they never choke. Let me tell you about
Not
it.
Not once.
Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Many businesses choose a New Year's Day effective date, but Swiss Insurance can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance. Give them a shot. You won't be disappointed. Contact them. mark@swissins.com.
By now you know me, Christina Schnurry, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Ooh, the Monroe Street Midway, downtown Detroit. It is your destination where you need to hang out this weekend. And, you know, we haven't had much snow this winter, so it's been still nice to go down there with some nice weather, have some fun going down the slide. They got putt putt, they got the arcade, and they got food, Jeff.
Yeah, they do.
I love food. I love pierogies.
Oh, I love food.
Do you like pierogies?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Pull a little Polish. You know, I got to try some Polish food.
They got burgers down there, some homemade chili. Are you a cornbread in your chili guy?
I don't mind cornbread in my chili.
I love
cornbread, man.
Cheese, onions, cornbread, fresh made chili. Well, they got that down at the Monroe Street Midway. It's right there by Campus Martius. And then while you're doing that, you could go down the Arctic Slide. You can play bumper cars and all types of fun stuff. So if you're looking for something family friendly to do, if you're looking for something for a date night to do, or if you don't have anybody to hang out with and you're by yourself, still go down there.
Me.
Fish, you'll go down there by yourself, won't you?
I will.
And you'll have a good time.
I'll have a great time. I've been to several events by myself. I have fun. Of course, I prefer friends, but I don't have any. But
oh, come on. You never call me. Me and you should go to the Monroe Street Midway.
We should, because Adam's not going to take me. So
yeah, Adam lies to you all the time about taking you.
Yeah, I've gotten that hint several times.
Yeah, you're never going to his house. I hope you know that.
No, I know that. Yeah.
But we can go to the Monroe Street Midway.
How do you not?
Head down there this weekend or head down there today. They're open 7 days a week.
Hey, are they coming to a close, by the way?
I believe end of January.
Oh, February. Okay.
Yeah, you got a whole nother month to get down there and check it out.
Cool.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show on woodwardsports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for the one, the only Adam Baydoun today. Nice round of applause for Adam. Are you clapping because he's not here?
Well, I'm clapping for both. You're here. I'm clapping for you. You're here. You're filling in.
I am filling in.
Isn't that a good thing we should be clapping for? No?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just thought you were clapping because Adam wasn't here and you don't have to watch your back and worry about getting shanked.
I mean, that's in the back of my mind a little bit. But I wanted to feel better. He didn't answer my text, so I hope he's not dead at his house.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Did he answer your text? Did you text him?
I did not text him back once he said he wasn't feeling well.
Ah, okay.
Because when I'm sick, any amount of energy that I have to expose is too much energy.
Ah, okay.
I don't want to return texts. I don't want to talk to anybody. I barely want to reach over to change the channel on the remote.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm sick, I'm a baby.
I'm right with you.
Yeah.
I think that's all men.
Being sick sucks. It's the worst thing in the world.
We're Bravo until we're not feeling good.
Yeah.
We're all tough until we're sick.
But when you're a kid, you love being sick because you know what that means.
No school.
Now I hate being sick because no work.
Yeah.
I don't like missing
work. It changes as you go to high school, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to miss that exam or that test.
I tell you what has made getting sick better, though, is the delivery services that are available.
Oh,
like when you used to be sick and you couldn't get soup delivered to you or juice or anything, you'd have to like go out of the house, go into CVS, do all that stuff. Now it's like, oh, I'm sick as hell. All right.
Gotta order Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's gonna cost me $70, but at least it's at my doorstep. I'd pay for that.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? Speaking of food, Joey 2 times in the chat says, "I was 19 when I saw my friend make a PB&J for his chili. I had to rethink many things."
All right.
That's your friend's interesting.
Yeah, interesting move.
Yeah, that's a. I don't know if that's a crime.
I hate judging things before I try them, but
I'm judging.
In my head, that does not make sense.
No, it does not make sense. You know what doesn't make any sense either? Sam Flannel last night on Twitter.
I mean,
like, come on,
he's going to do what he does.
Sam Flannel.
Is that worse than the Ben Wallace take?
I don't know if it's worse than the Ben Wallace. It's as irritating as the Ben Wallace take.
Okay.
I don't think it's worse. It's just as irritating. So yeah, as you know, Flannel Sam, noted legend killer around here, Big D Energy, 11-1 right here on woodwardsports.com. He loves Michigan. Loves everything about Michigan.
Oh, I actually have their song. Hold on. Where is it?
Oh, okay. But he doesn't love Tom Brady.
Right.
In fact, he hates Tom Brady.
Very ironic.
which is so weird. Yeah, he will not celebrate Tom Brady as a Michigan man, even though Tom Brady is the most prolific player to ever come out of Michigan, period. Yesterday, when Tom Brady was losing, he took to Twitter. And not only did he take to Twitter once, not twice, not three. He went full LeBron James on it. Not once, not twice, not 8, not 9. He just went ham. He has been waiting for the demise of Tom Brady. Check out some of these tweets, Westfall, if you can throw them up real quick.
Took him 22 years, but...
Yeah, now that Tom Brady is out of the playoffs, I can finally truly enjoy them. It's glorious.
Who did he retweet? Barry?
Yeah, Barry. Yeah, get this old-ass pyramid scheming, check-down merchant the F out of here.
All right.
There are very few things I enjoy more in life than watching Tom Brady quarterback team blown out in the playoffs.
Oh my
Don't
God.
let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
He actually got some pretty good views on some of them, too.
For the first time tonight, I finally feel sure that Tom Brady and the Buccaneers will lose and be eliminated from the playoffs.
I don't really understand hating greatness. I just don't. Especially when Tom Brady wasn't the problem for Tampa this year. I think people kind of all know that.
Okay, but we've done that for Aaron Rodgers before.
Well,
But Aaron Rodgers, we have a personal vendetta.
Yeah, I know.
Tom Brady, what personal, what... I don't know how Sam Flannel is this offended.
I don't know how you hate greatness. I really don't. And whatever you're logged into, make sure you give me a follow over there at Stick Radio. Thank you, Westfall. Sam also says, oh
boy.
He got signed in. There you go.
All right. I'm trying to read that tweet. It says, I have to give a ton of credit to Dak Prescott. He played the game of his life tonight. He silenced the doubters tonight, myself included. And this is where me and Flannel have a lot of disagreements because he doesn't think that wins are quarterback stats. And that's where people can hate Tom Brady. Because if you look at the box score, he's not putting up 500 yards and 6 TDs. What he's doing is managing the game, getting you the win, putting you in position, and making sure that he isn't helping his team lose. Last night, that was not the case. He was helping his team lose. That pick in the red zone, the first one that he's thrown since 2019, that was horrible.
Yeah, momentum changer.
Yes.
When you're down 6 and you throw a pick in the red zone.
Yeah, the whole game is different if they score there.
Yeah, I agree.
But the fact that people are going so hard against Tom Brady, this goes back to one of my favorite sayings of all time, Jeff. Nobody boos a bench player.
Yeah.
And that means to get that level of hate from somebody, you have to be that level of great.
You know what this sounds a lot like? Someone that me and you go back and forth a lot in the NBA. A player that I think doesn't get enough recognition.
Who?
You know who. Who? Your biggest enemy.
LeBron?
You know.
You don't think LeBron gets enough recognition?
No, I'm saying for people, there's a lot of people that hate on him. A lot of people that hate on him, including yourself. And that's part of the greatness, right?
I don't hate on his skill set. I hate on him as the individual, as the teammate.
Okay.
That's what I hate on LeBron.
All right.
And I hate on LeBron for having to go chase his ring, not organically growing it.
Like Brady kind of did, you know.
Brady? What? Brady?
Went to Tampa
to chase his 7th ring? Are you kidding me? You're going to compare the two?
I'm joking. But still, I don't understand the Brady hate. I mean, if you watch the Buccaneers this season, if your conclusion you take away from that is, Brady's, if you have any criticism of Brady's play, you're incorrect. You just are. He still has a lot, even at 45 years old, he still has some good football left in him. He just needs a lot around him, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers couldn't provide that. Like I said earlier, they were last in the NFL in yards per game on the ground. They didn't have a run game. That's every quarterback's best friend. Tom Brady had more pass attempts this season than he did his entire career. That's not an ideal situation you want a 45-year-old Tom Brady to be in. You want things comfortable around him to operate in the offense. Tampa was a disaster this year. They had a ton of injuries, and defensively, they just really aren't the same as they were when they won a Super Bowl. So I wouldn't say it's Tom Brady's fault, and I wouldn't be sitting there saying, "Ha-ha, Tom, I got you. You lost." Like, Tom's the last person. If you want to come after anybody, it's probably everybody around Tom Brady, to be honest with you. Maybe even the play calling.
And you're right. Listen, I don't like LeBron, right? But when LeBron is completely sliding off, I'm not going to root for his downfall. Like, to me, that's the weird aspect of this.
I get that.
Almost taking joy in watching one of the greatest players of all time decline. I get no joy out of that. I don't understand that mentality from Maz or Flannel Sam. That just like, I think it's because they've been wrong for so many years, and now they can finally be right that he's not great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? then they can finally see, I told you guys 10 years ago that 7 championships removed, but I told you he wasn't that good.
You know what's ironic too is Sam Flannel defended Justin Herbert the other day, and I agree with a lot of his points because Neil ruled a little harsh on Justin Herbert, but at the same time, Justin Herbert and Tom Brady made it the same distance in the playoffs. They both lost in the first round. So, if you're going to defend Justin Herbert, keep that same energy for your boy Tom, Sam Flannel. You can't be biased here. I know you don't like Tom Brady, but if you're going to defend Justin Herbert for throwing a 27-0 lead and say it's all Brandon Staley, then why all the flack to Tom Brady there? It doesn't really add up to me, but hey, still love Sam Flannel. He's got interesting opinions.
Yeah, listen, and he's data-driven.
Yes.
And that's the thing with Flannel Sam. Unless it's in a spreadsheet and you can tangibly see the yards, he doesn't believe in intangibles. He doesn't believe in leadership qualities. He believes in yards, stats, QBR, and that type of stuff. Yeah, that's all he cares about.
Not the eye test.
Right, and it's the same thing with Easy too on a lot of things. Easy doesn't understand nuance of it's this guy didn't happen, so he's not good. It's well, no, there's several things that go into this, and no one thing is completely true about anybody.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just interesting to have those takes, and I just hate to see people rooting for the downfall, especially Tom Brady, man. He went to Michigan. Michigan can champion him the rest of existence.
That's the biggest surprise, I think. For someone who is as big of a fan as Sam is for Michigan, for him to be that against Tom Brady, I don't understand. You know what's funny? I was talking to Sean Murphy, one of my good friends. We do From Half Court together. He had a Big Ten title. He had a Big Ten champ shirt on last night when we were recording in 2021 last year. And then I talked about the Bucs and the Cowboys game, and he goes, "Man, I can't wait to see Tom Brady lose." I go, "What is it with Michigan fans and hating Tom Brady? I don't understand." There should be another level of appreciation for that man.
Well, and let's be honest, when he was at Michigan, a lot of people were rooting for Drew Henson over him too. So maybe it's the people from the Drew Henson holdovers that are finally getting to see their comeuppance. See, I told you Drew Henson would have been a better quarterback.
Took him 22 years, but they got there.
You know what? Haters will wait. Yeah. And that's what I'm learning from this. Haters will sit there and they will wait for years for your downfall. And when it finally comes, they'll be like, "See, a decade ago, I was right." And people are comparing my hate for Aaron Rodgers to Tom Brady hate. It's different.
That's not more personal, I feel like, the Aaron Rodgers one.
Aaron Rodgers, to me, is just overrated. He's won 1 Super Bowl. He chokes constantly in the playoffs. He doesn't have 7 Super Bowl rings. He doesn't leave. He didn't go take another Super Bowl to another team.
Yeah.
What he's done is he hasn't taken pay cuts to give his wide receivers more money to build the defense. You know who has? Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is making $60 million next year.
Yep.
Tom Brady never did that. Never put that cap onto his team. So to me, completely different. Aaron Rodgers got lucky to get his 1 Super Bowl, and thank God he has that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what would Aaron Rodgers be besides just he was a good quarterback?
He would be one of the most underachieving great quarterbacks the league has ever seen. For Aaron to be the most accurate passer, you can see a lot of great things about Aaron. He's still a bad man, but to your point, with all that talent, 1 Super Bowl and multiple early exits, proof's in the pudding. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he underachieved greatly.
Matthew Stafford has just as many Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers.
Took him 1 year away. Just went to LA.
No, you're right. Just as many NFC championships.
Yep.
And I'm not a huge Stafford guy. I think he's very talented, but the fact that you can have that conversation and compare those 2 careers now just shows you that if you're not calling Matthew Stafford a top 5 quarterback, you probably shouldn't be calling Aaron Rodgers one either.
And even Aaron Rodgers with all the MVPs, I mean, he's won multiple MVP awards. He puts up great stats. That all that we understand. But when it comes down to crunch time, who do you trust, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? That's kind of always been the argument. And Tom's proven that time and time again. Even at 44, 43 years old, he's winning a Super Bowl. He's beating Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Tom Brady, there's just different levels to this. And Aaron Rodgers, as talented as he is, puts up those numbers, has the accolades. The thing that matters with quarterbacks that are that great is Super Bowls. And he only has 1 of them. So in that, he's too good to only have 1 Super Bowl.
That's the thing, right? And that just shows you he couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it done. Facts is facts. And what else is a fact? Planet Fitness. Your fitness is essential, and they want you to know that, so make sure you go sign up today. Just $10 a month. You can go, and they have Planet Fitness Fitni, I believe our friend Neil Rule calls it, when you're pluralizing it. They are all over the place in Metro Detroit, so there's got to be one near you. Stop on in today, sign up for just $10 a month, or you can upgrade to that black card where you get the massage, the tanning, and all of that good stuff too. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Let me tell you about our friends at Cintron, because it is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. They've combined all 3 of their delicious flavors. You can see on the screen if you're watching on WoodwardSports.com, cranberry, classic, and sugar-free. You can get your Cintron 6-pack sampler box at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on WoodwardSports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam today as he heals up. Jeff is here with his shaved head. Fish over there. Everybody says you look like a blonde Malcolm in the Middle, Fish.
Do I?
Yeah.
I guess I do. I don't know.
I can see it. Alex Westfall. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers and whatnot. Saw a comment on the WoodwardSports.com chat that says, without Aaron Rodgers, there would be no Green Bay. I don't know if you were being sarcastic. It's tough to read during text, but there was a guy named Brett Favre who was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Put Green Bay on the map. There was another quarterback, I believe, named Bart Starr. It's pretty good. Put Green Bay on the map. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he took over a Brett Favre-led team.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers has put Green Bay in that conversation for his entirety of his career. But at the same time, what is that? The accolades are great for Aaron Rodgers. It's never a question of talent. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time. But the question is, what do you got for me? What's the accolades besides MVP awards?
Right.
You could be the MVP, but in terms of playoff success, it just has never been there for Aaron Rodgers. Like, it's still funny to think he only has 1 Super Bowl. Like, for as talented as he is, as accurate of a passer as he is.
And he ain't getting another one.
And he's not getting another one. I mean, he'd have to leave to a team that's completely stacked, and I don't even know. It depends on what team he joins, but I'm with you. I think that'll be it. He'll probably end his career with 1. Still has a Hall of Fame career, don't get me wrong. A lot of appreciation, but no, I mean, if we're talking about underachieving, I think Aaron Rodgers to me is up there.
Yeah, and you can be great and also underachieve. Both things can be true.
Right. Doesn't take away anything he's done. I mean,
no.
Has all the accolades, but no way you can have 1 Super Bowl and be that good. That good. Like, Dan Marino, still a really good quarterback, was never able to do it, but Aaron Rodgers in the NFC, he's had multiple opportunities. He lost a playoff game last year at home. Like, people forget about recently what he's been doing. That was with Devontae, too.
This year he lost essentially a playoff
against
game
the Lions,
at home to the Detroit Lions. That team that has beaten them 3 times in a row. And so I want to hear it.
Brandon Katz says Green Bay benefited from a very weak NFC North most of his time in Green Bay. I mean, is he wrong?
No, I mean, the Lions were in that division, so you're really only playing 2 teams during that stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Love this comment. Fish is Vanilla McLovin.
All right.
Let's talk about C.J. Stroud, man.
Ooh.
He officially announced he is leaving for the NFL. Where do you think he winds up in the draft? And do you think that the Lions should maybe look at him?
I do think it's smart for him to declare this year. I think next year you have Drake May, Caleb Williams. I think this season for C.J. Stroud, I think it'd be detrimental to him if he returns back to Ohio State and let's say you lose to Michigan for a 3rd straight year. That's just a bad look. It really is. That's kind of been the question with C.J. Stroud. He can't win big games. He kind of disproved that a little bit when he faced Georgia and had a really good game. Marvin Harrison, if he didn't go down, who knows what could have happened. And on top of that, Ruggins missed that 50-yard field goal that was shanked it completely. So CJ proved a lot of people wrong in that game against Georgia. I think he's still going to be a top 10 pick. If anything, from a Lions fan perspective, I'm happy because it means one more defensive player will be bumped down to the Lions. But at the same time, I've never was a big CJ Stroud guy. I've always said if Bryce Young to me is the only quarterback that I'm in love with. I've watched a lot of Bryce this year and last year. That's the quarterback I would take if you're Houston or even Chicago if they go that far. But let me put it this way, and I want to just phrase it like this because although everyone knows how I feel about the Lions and what they should draft, defense. But
right.
I'm going to put this up in the air. If on draft day CJ Stroud is selected by the Lions, I will be skeptical, but I will have full trust in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell until proven otherwise. I think that's the bigger set. I think for me, if I'm Brad, my focus is fixing this defense. This season could have been a very different season if you had a top 15 defense. We all know that. But there is a clear need, and there's going to be plenty of options for Brad to choose from. But you got to trust in his evaluation to kind of go through these prospects. I know he had a press conference a week ago, and he talked about it, and they asked him a lot of quarterback questions, and he dodged them. He was weaving, dipping, and dodging all these questions. And he answered it basically like, hey, we have player rankings. Wherever these guys fall on there is where they fall. And if he feels like CJ's the highest ranked player on his board and he's available and they take him, I'm going to trust it. Although I'll be very skeptical and I have to wait until proven otherwise. If he ends up like Zach Wilson, then we're going to have a conversation. But at the end of the day, I won't fault him. But my ideology has always been take the best defensive player, trade back. I think there's going to be plenty of options, especially the teams that are behind the Lions. You have the Raiders, Falcons, Panthers, and Titans. 4 teams, 5 picks behind them. They're going to be interested in taking a quarterback. So if the Lions are kind of playing, hey, we might take one, we might not, those teams might be like, hey, we got to get in front of the Lions or we got to trade for that pick to get a quarterback. I think there's a lot of leverage Brad can have, but at the end of the day, I don't think CJ Stroud's the pick for the Lions. There's so much, of a need defensively. I think that's the route to go, but you never know. Draft day is always crazy.
Yeah. Preface everything I'm about to say. I trust Brad Holmes, so whatever decision he makes, I'm okay with. I'm on board with saying that. I prefer defense, but let's run through it. Number 1 overall pick, Chicago. They're not going to draft a quarterback, so that doesn't help the Lions. Houston, they probably will draft a quarterback, right?
Yeah, no question. That's how you start that rebuild. You get a quarterback. Probably be Bryce Young.
Arizona.
I think they're probably going to take the best defensive player available. Yep. I would see that. Maybe Jalen Carter's mock. That makes sense. And then the Colts, to me, would be that team.
Colts is, and C.J. Stroud going number 4 overall.
I could, in as much crap as I give Will Levis, I could see Will. He's a guy that teams are going to be. It's always the Zach Wilson. There's always these quarterbacks that shoot up the draft boards and guys love. He has his arm talent. He has the physical mold of a quarterback. Will Levis 6'3", big. He's tough. He can make any throw. At least that's what he did at the collegiate level. He turned the ball over a ton. But GMs are going to look at that. I can see even Will Levis going for. I can see teams reaching for him. And that would put C.J. Stroud between Seattle or the Lions or any team behind. And if I'm Brad Holmes, I'm taking calls. Does anybody want to trade up and take CJ?
Vegas may want to trade up. Carolina may want to trade up.
Yes.
Tennessee, I doubt it. Cleveland, which is Houston, they may also want to trade up and get back up there if they don't take a quarterback at number 2. Jets, they're in a weird quarterback situation.
Jets, I feel like they'll get a veteran. They'll probably get a Derek Carr or something. They'll get a guy who's proven.
New England, you never know with New England what the hell they're going to do. Green Bay, they shouldn't draft a quarterback in the first round considering what they did with their last one.
Who knows?
But who the hell knows with Green Bay? You may have to replace Aaron Rodgers. Washington, quarterback is in disarray. They were starting 3 quarterbacks to end the season. Pittsburgh, they're set, and then back to Detroit. So, yeah, there is an opportunity for him to go in the top 9, I think.
Yeah. No, and that's where he'll line up. At the end of the day, I think we both agree that we would prefer the best defensive player available. I think that's the clear need. You'd be in the playoffs right now if you had some more talent defensively. But at the end of the day, Brad Holmes, it really comes down to trusting him until you can't no more. I think every GM, especially Brad Holmes, every regime is different, and you trust a general manager until that trust is taken away from you. And so far, it hasn't been for Brad. So if he takes C.J. Stroud, I'm not going to be skeptical, or I am going to be skeptical, but I'm not going to say it was a bad pick. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see and let it play out. Maybe CJ, he sees it as CJ sits behind Jared for a year or two, and then maybe you got him on a rookie deal. And if he has the talent, he has the talent. But in my opinion, there's going to be some good defensive players available, especially if the quarterbacks go high in the draft. Like if CJ Stroud goes to the Colts and Bryce Young goes to Houston, those are two more defensive players that slide down for you. So Brad's going to have the pick of the litter. It's up to him what he wants to do. I still think trading back is the best decision, in my opinion.
Brad Holmes, I'm not going to say is lucky, because you create your own luck when you do the type of scouting that he does. But for a Penei Sewell to fall to you, I'm not saying that's luck, but he's had some fortune in the draft.
And he hasn't messed it up, which is easy to do.
Correct. And this may be another year of that, because you remember in the Penei Sewell draft, how many quarterbacks, like 3 quarterbacks went before Penei Sewell, and then you had Chase and Waddle. That kind of kept pushing down the good core type players. No defensive players really went super early in that draft, and you were able to get a future Hall of Famer in Penei Sewell sitting where the Lions are sitting this year. I think they'll have another opportunity to kind of not take what's left over, but not have to reach for anybody, right? They're going to have somebody fall to them. Mm-hmm. And that's where Brad Holmes so far has taken advantage.
Yeah, no, and that's what you want in a general manager. Don't mess it up.
just don't
mess it up. And if you're a Lions fan, you understand that it's very easy to mess those things up. You've seen it happen in the past, and Brad has consistently proved to everybody that he can identify talent. So the fact that the Rams pick this year is 6, when all of us figured the 2 years ago that these Rams picks would be somewhere in the 20s, I mean, this wasn't supposed to happen this way. You were supposed to have the 18th pick like the Lions have currently, and then maybe the 25th pick, whatever it was. Now you got a top 6 pick. So, Brad, take advantage of it, improve this defense, because I'm telling you, you take a stud defensively, another one, this defense, it starts coming together. Offense is already where it's at. They're making progress, but you never know. If it's a quarterback, it's a quarterback.
And how salty are the Rams right now, man?
So salty.
Well, are you, though? Because you did get your Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
maybe salty for the future, but you got your Super Bowl. I would take that every day of the week. For 5 years in purgatory.
Yeah.
I've had 30 years in purgatory, so give me a Super Bowl.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those up. We've been doing this a lot longer in purgatory, Jeff.
Those are rookie numbers, man. Come on.
Oh, man. So you're looking for something nice to eat today. The Lobster food truck is out rolling around, and it looks like it is going to be in Livonia at the Sunco gas station on Plymouth Road. That's right by Alex Westfall. Alex, you may get some on your way home.
How do you not?
11 to 6 p.m. today. Make sure you stop by and see the Lobster food truck in Livonia. Then tomorrow they're going to be in Plymouth, Thursday in Southfield and Shelby Township, Friday Rochester and Ferndale. So if you're looking to get some of that delicious butter-soaked lobster,
how do you not?
You like those cities, Fish?
Yeah, those are nice cities to be in.
Those are beautiful cities.
I've been to many cities.
A great place to eat lobster. So make sure you scan the QR code right now if you want to find out where they're going to be at, or just go to cousinsmainelobster.com.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Meats, eats, and treats. It all goes down at the Butchery. And if you want to get a hold of them, call 248-682-COWS. That's 248-682-COWS. Give me a moo, Fish. Go moo. There you go. You call them today. Chef Dave will hook you up. They have catering, bulk special orders, plus they have some wonderful sandwiches that you can just stop by and order there. It's an awesome butchery in Sylvan Lake. Make sure you go to thebutcherysl.com. Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on woodwardsports.com. Thank you guys for being a part of the show today. We appreciate everybody in the chat. My name is Stick, filling in for Adam, who is sick today. He is out. Jeff Iafrate on the desk. Fish bobbing his little head inside the sound booth. And, of course, Alex Westfall here. What do you want to talk about, Jeff?
I want to talk about who's replacing Ben.
There's a lot to talk about.
Is that...
Because I want to ask you, because I haven't really got your thoughts on it here. Are you in the camp of chasing a seasoned offensive coordinator, or are you the type of guy, and this is kind of the argument I've been making, is you're probably going to find that replacement somewhere within the organization? Where are you at? Because I've seen a lot of names thrown around, especially on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I have a manual of great up-and-coming offensive coordinators or tight end coaches that could be it. You know, I haven't dove that deep into the coaching pool, but you're looking at a Ben Johnson who this year has kind of become irreplaceable.
Yeah.
You know, if he leaves, the system's going with him. Does Dan know that system? Was it part of Dan's system? You hope so, because, you know, Dan coached under Sean Payton, so I'm sure he has some offensive tricks up his sleeves.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know who you replace a Ben Johnson with. This isn't a replaceable guy. This is potentially a complete shift of the offensive strategy, potentially a complete shift of who. But the good news is the Lions are now enticing for good offensive coordinators.
Yes.
Right? It's not like you're coming in trying to fix anything. You're coming in with a top 3 offense that all you got to do is maybe tweak some things to your preference, and now all of a sudden you're up and running.
Yeah.
So that's the good news for the Detroit Lions. I don't have a name off the top of my head.
You worried about Goff?
No.
If you were to leave.
I'm not worried about Goff. Everybody attributes all of Goff's success to Ben Johnson. Goff went to a Super Bowl without Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
It is what it is. The guy knows how to play football. He was the #1 overall pick.
Right.
Right. Does him and Ben Johnson work very well together? Yes. Am I worried about that a little bit? Yeah, but I think Jared Goff, I think Goff has had He had 4 offensive coordinators in LA when he was there.
Yeah.
He's had 2 here while he's been in Detroit. So he's proven he can adjust to any system.
But just like LA, we always know Sean McVay was probably the play caller all through those years. And Dan Campbell, I think that's the big part for this. And that's probably why I'm not as concerned. Is I think Dan has more of an imprint than people think in this offense, and obviously he found Ben Johnson. He was already a part of the organization, but he promoted him, although me and Adam clamored for Ben when
Matt
Anthony
Patricia found Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
it blows my mind.
But Matt never gave him that promotion. Matt never saw
he promoted
what he
him
had.
to tight end coach.
Yes.
And then that's where he was when Dan Campbell took over.
And then you gave Darrell Bevel the OC role. But regardless, moving on to Ben, I think Dan deserves a ton of credit because I do, number one, trust Dan to find a replacement. I still think it's Tanner Engstrand. That's who I'm going to be on. I think a guy that's within the organization that knows the philosophies. He works with Ben Johnson, up and coming. He has a lot of experience, not in the NFL, but coaching. Just different levels of football. He was an offensive coordinator in the XFL, which is funny to say, but no, he's been played at collegiately. He was a coach, and then in the NFL now he's been with the Lions. He's a tight ends coach and passing game coordinator, which Ben Johnson was when he was here. So I think a promotion from within makes the most sense. But at the end of the day, I got a lot of faith in Dan. Sean Payton said this on Cow and Cowherd, and this is something that it's always on my mind. He said when Dan Campbell was first interviewed with Detroit, and he talked to Sheila, Sean Payton, and Chris Spielman, whoever he talked to specifically, he mentioned that he thinks Dan Campbell could be a offensive version of Mike Vrabel.
Correct.
And I do have a lot of that. There's a lot of merit in that. I do think Dan offensively is a lot better or much smarter than people give him credit for. So even if Ben leaves, I don't think the system gets thrown out the window. I think it's a similar system. Now, would you like Ben's play calling? Because he's very on the fly. Like the play call against the Jets for Brock Wright, like that stuff, you're like, wow, you're super impressed by? Of course. But at the same time, you don't think Dan has a lot to do. There's a lot of communication that goes into game planning. I think Dan is involved, but at the same time, Ben Johnson is a stud. And let's be honest here. Like I've always loved, he's my man crush. He's a guy that, as soon as Anthony Lynn was fired, there was this young, had the most prototypical name, Ben Johnson, 36 years old. That's the guy me and Adam wanted as OC, and it worked out that way. And I'm happy for him. He's getting looked at. But at the end of the day, you can't keep good coaches in the NFL. You just can't. Like, look at good organizations. Guys lose coaches every single year. And as selfish as I want Ben Johnson to return, if you're a good organization and you're one of these, the Baltimores of the world or any of these other organizations, they find replacements every year, and they still are consistently in the picture, in the conversation. If Dan is as good of a coach as we think he is, they're going to be just fine. Will they regress a little bit? Maybe, but at the end of the day, whoever he finds, I have faith, Dan. He's nailed his hires. He's fired guys when they deserve to be fired, and he's hired the correct guys when he's needed to hire them. So I got faith in Dan to find the replacement. But of course, we all love Ben. We've grown to get close to him over this past year.
What do you think of Scott Turner? Because really, he just got let go in Washington. I liked his style of offense, the way he used the running backs, the way he used Terry McLaurin. They had struggles at quarterback, so that kind of limited what he could do this past year. Yeah. But what do you think of a Scott Turner?
I don't mind like a Scott Turner, or even how it ended with the Jets with like a Mike LaFleur. I know it was a disaster, but at the end of the day, if you're an offensive coordinator for Zach Wilson and you're an offensive coordinator for Jared Goff in this offense, maybe it's a little different. You have a little more to work with. I don't know what the narrative is with Mike LaFleur, but there's options out there. I would just personally prefer promoting from within. I think it's good if you can just find guys, you can give guys opportunities, and the system never really changes. Instead of bringing in a Scott Turner and being like, hey, this is what we want to run, you're going to have to run it that way. You have guys that kind of already familiar with what you want to do, what your identity is.
And that's the crazy thing. It's not like this offense is sitting 14th or 15th, right? And they need to fix it.
Yeah.
It's you just want to maintain it at this point. You want to bring in somebody who won't screw it up. It kind of reminds me of when Brad Ausmus took over the Tigers. It was like, hey, I'm being handed the keys to a Corvette. I just can't crash it. Then what did he do? He drove it straight off the Belle Isle Bridge into the river.
That's it.
You can't have that. And I think you're right. I don't know if we're giving Dan Campbell enough credit. He knows when to make a change. Mm-hmm. He knows who to hire, and he knows what type of system he wants to run. And to him and Brad Holmes' credit, the quality of individuals that they have been bringing in has been important too. It's not like they're just bringing in skilled guys. They're bringing in skilled guys that fit the program.
Right. And on top of that too, like Aaron Glenn, for example, like a lot of people calling for Aaron Glenn's head, even me, myself getting skeptical for a second. Like, okay, defense is historically bad. Dan Campbell didn't even flinch. It's like, hey, I trust AG. I know what he's about. And what happened later in the season, defense turned around. So he has a good not only relationships with people, but he's a good people reader. He's a good people. He knows when somebody's right or not right for the job. We saw that last year. Anthony Lynn, that offense, atrocious. He made that decision pretty quickly. So I'm not going to lose faith on Dan yet. If Ben leaves, which again, deserves it, go get that bag. I'm not going to hate another man for taking the opportunity. Go to Carolina. But at the same time, you got to have trust in Dan to find that guy, whether it's outside or within the organization. I won't have an issue either way. I know Easy brought up Matt Nagy, and that's kind of been another thing too. I don't mind Matt Nagy. I think he gets a little overlooked with what he did with Mitchell Trubisky. Like the fact that you took him to the playoffs and they were a double doink away from winning a playoff game with Mitch. It's like,
don't sleep on Mitch Trubisky.
It's a big, he's all right. Mitch, all right, but
he's
still,
not good. But
I think Nagy, he would be an option. But to me, it's like it just depends. I mean, which way does Dan want to go? Within or outside the organization?
Yeah, you wonder where a Mark Brunell sits in this situation
he could be in that
as the quarterback coach, because as much credit as you want to give Ben Johnson, the quarterback coach should probably get some credit for the quarterback.
Yeah. And Adam, it's funny, I bring that up. I go, yeah, Mark Brunell. He goes, I will never trust Mark Brunell after he said, because when he was first here, I think it was last year at the beginning of the season, he compared Jared Goff to Drew Brees, and Adam freaked out over it. I'm like, I don't think he's saying he is Drew Brees, but there's similarities he sees with Drew Brees. Adam's like, no, that discredits everything if you compare Jared Goff to Drew Brees. And now I can't mention Mark Brunell now, because it's like, hey, he doesn't do anything. He just stands there and is a puppet. I'm like, no, I think Mark Brunell has a lot to do with a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think the quarterback coach, like I said, has something to do with quarterbacks.
I
Call me
assume,
crazy.
I would assume, yeah.
Just like the defensive line coach, who does he probably affect?
The defensive line.
You're good at this, Jeff. You're really good at this. Fish, what does the kicking coach affect?
The kicker!
Hey, everybody.
Which
Thanks
did a
for
poor
playing
job
at
last
home.
night for the Cowboys because he missed 4 kicks in a row.
Have you ever seen that before?
That's bad. Especially a guy who's so accurate. Like, it's not like a kicker they just brought up. Like, he's been money. They call him Money Mar all year, and he's 1 for 5.
The best part is you could see the overcorrection happen. Like, the first 2 he pushed right, and he's like, I'm not pushing this one right. And then he yanks it left. Yeah. And I love Dan Campbell because that's when Dan Campbell was on the ManningCast, too, when he shanked one left. And, Campbell was like, they asked him, would you send him back out there? He's like, yeah, you got to send him back out there, but let him know. If you miss another one, we ain't going back to you tonight. But he said all he's got to do is just get back in that rhythm, stroke one, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, it's funny because Brett was the same kicker who hit a 60-yarder, didn't count, lined back up, and hit another 60-yarder like early in the year. It was like middle of the season, so he's got the talent. Yeah, I know. And real quick, my guy Easy in the chat before we go to break here.
What is Easy clowning about in the chat?
He says Brunell was the quarterback coach when Goff was ass, and I think this would got to get spun too. Goff last year.
Goff was not ass last year. He wasn't ass at any point in this year.
I don't know if you could say he was just ass because last year was a complete disaster offensively.
You know how I know he wasn't ass? What happened when Goff went out last year?
Well, what happened also when Ben Johnson was promoted? I mean, you saw the change.
When Blau came in.
Oh, it was different, night and day.
How horrible were because if nobody wants to live revisionist history, so Easy, think about this real hard. I'm talking directly to you now. The first year of Jared Goff, everybody was saying, backup quarter, we need to see what our backups can do. We need to see what Blau can do. We need to see what Boyle can do. Well, Goff was out a couple games. Those guys came in, and it was a complete clown show. I mean, you couldn't even get a check down completed.
That whole year was a disaster. I mean, even Brad talked about that. He's like, for Jared last year to fight through all that adversity, I mean, you had Anthony Lynn at the beginning of the year. It was a disaster. You had to overcorrect. You got Ben Johnson, and then you saw how he closed the year. I think Goff was up there in passer rating the last couple games of the year with Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. Like, he had a really good ending to last year, and that was when Amon-Ra emerged. Like, there's context in that. I wouldn't just say he was ass last year. Now, if Jared Goff played bad all year with this current offense with Ben Johnson, then I think you have an argument. Like, yeah, he was ass. But last year, those circumstances weren't really the most friendliest to Goff. Let's be honest here. You didn't have Frank Ragnow all year. Like, come on.
And if
there's so much context.
I was going to say, and if you're going to say that, then scale it up. Then Dan Campbell was also ass. And then so it was like
it was bad. Yeah.
You can't do this. And this is what frustrates me with Easy. Once again, we talked about this earlier. Easy doesn't understand nuance, right? Like, he doesn't understand that even though Goff was performing at a high level, the team could still be losing.
Right.
They were 1-6 to start the season, and Goff was top 5 in air yards, and he still wants to call him mid. Like, that's where you lose me, right?
Yeah.
When the logic leaves your conversation and the logic leaves your thought process, and you only want to focus on, well, when Ben Johnson took over, he was better. Like, no, he was good the whole damn season.
Yeah.
You don't put up the stats Jared Goff put up by only playing half a year.
Yeah, and you give him an offensive coordinator who's not a complete clown. I mean, that also matters. Dan Campbell was calling plays, but Ben was in the background as a pass game coordinator. I mean, if you're Jared Goff, you're going from Anthony Lynn to Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson. I hope you improve. I mean, Anthony Lynn was god-awful. He was terrible. There was nowhere to go but up after that move, and Jared Goff went up, as expected.
And here's another thing you got to consider. Maybe everybody's improving a little bit. Maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown got better in his second year. Maybe the offensive line got more cohesive in their second year. You know, like these are all things that go into an offense building and getting better.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily the Lions have a quarterback that can see that through, not some young guy that's learning on the job.
Yeah, I'm not in the camp of saying like Ben Johnson's the sole reason why Goff played better. I think it helps any quarterback when you have good coaching.
Yeah.
But it's also up to the quarterback to execute that and come through with results. And Goff did that at the end of last season. So
I see Easy woke up and decided to put on his clown nose today.
Yeah,
that's nice.
And listen, love you, Easy. I can't get behind without Ben. Goff's nothing. I think that's unfair.
It's lazy. That's what it is. It's lazy.
Of course, Ben Johnson, we love him. But at the same time, I can't. I got to credit Goff as well. He's out there.
You mean the guy that went to a Super Bowl without Ben Johnson?
I am talking about
that guy. Oh, okay. Yeah, the guy that went to a Super Bowl. Yeah. But he can't do it without Ben Johnson. Can't do it. Tell him about SMA.
Let me tell you about him, guys. Sports marketing agency. Helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, this is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, tell them or yourself to head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle, baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Let me tell you about our friends at the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck, because if you think you're better than Jared Goff, go prove it. Go to the Fulling Warehouse and sling it. It's
I'm
great.
only good if Ben Johnson's coaching.
We did. Well, you got to have Ben Johnson at Fulling. That is true. You pay $12 for the unlimited open play, or you pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. They got $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out. FullingWarehouse.com.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on woodwardsports.com. Thank you for being a part of the day. Jeff, we got about 5 minutes to touch on some Pistons.
Yeah.
They're in Paris. You see those pictures of Ben Wallace getting off the PJ and looking smooth?
Yeah. Killian Hayes returns home.
Back at home?
Yeah, no. Pistons, man, it's been rough. It really has. I think season-wise, it's not quite what we expected, but at the same time, that's kind of what happens when you lose your by far best player in Cade. I mean, it's tough. Even with Cade, I sat up here and said they'd win 30 games. They're on pace to win 20, low 20s without him. I can't say I'm shocked. I mean, they have 2 rookies starting. They don't have Duren lately.
But are you enjoying watching these games?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Because I feel like the year before the Pistons got Cade, those were enjoyable games, because you could tell it was a young team trying to win. They couldn't quite get there, but they were competitive every night. Some of these Pistons games have been rough to watch, but then they surprise you with like a 30-point blowout.
Yeah, and that's the Pistons this year. The best thing is watching the young guys. I think that's got to be the number one thing. I mean, watching the development of different players, Ivy, Killian, who's taken a lot of steps forward. That's been great. But the record-wise and defensively, it's been bad to watch. I mean, it's frustrating. They just don't have the talent. I mean, you have Bojan out there as your number one player. There's a lot of things you like, but the most interesting time of the year is in a couple weeks, that trade deadline, because I do think the Pistons, you don't know if they're going to be shopping or buying, and you got some guys on the roster currently that could be moved. So the Pistons, I get why people are frustrated, but they still have a very bright future, and there's a lot to look forward to with these young guys. And they have a top 3 pick probably again this year, which I hate saying that, but they do. They do. And they have $60 million of money to spend, so a lot of opportunity this offseason.
I just want LCA to be packed. I just want a winning team down there, and for young guys like you, Jeff, to feel what it's like to have a championship basketball team. How old were you in 2004 when they won?
I was 4 years old.
Yeah, see, that's like me when the Tigers won the World Series in '84. Like, I don't really remember it. I was alive during it, but I've heard of it. I know the Bless You Boys, but I didn't watch them.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating part. Like, I was there, and I guess mentally there, and I remember the Eastern Conference Finals runs, but those days were slowly coming to an end. And then you have the 2010s era, which, had to tough through and had to get through, and had some moments where you're excited. You had some players you were excited for, then they were traded away. So it is what it is. All that sacrifice got us to this point, and I still have faith in the Pistons. I don't think Adam said, and actually I want to ask you this. We have 2 minutes. Adam tried to make the argument that the Tigers are closer than the Pistons.
He's on crack.
Okay, thank you. That's why. Okay, we're good then.
I
don't think one person has disagreed with me with that statement.
Whatever he says, it must be all that draft stock that he's been picking up and shoving up his nose. Because there's no way. They're like they're not even to the teardown stage again.
No,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, they're bad, but they're not tear down bad.
Yeah.
Once they get there, yeah. And to me, it's whenever we have this conversation, it's always going to be the NFL team, because NFL teams can go from worst to first quicker than any other league that there is. We've seen it. We've seen wild card teams win the damn Super Bowl after winning 2 games the year before. We've seen that in the NFL. But yeah, the Tigers are far away, man. They're you don't even have 2 great rotational pitchers.
They don't have pieces that you'd be like, you know what? This is our future. We're very excited for this player's development.
Who's our 3-4-5 hitter?
Yeah.
Like that's an important part of your lineup, and you don't have it figured out. You know what I mean? Like back when the Tigers were really good, it was, oh damn, we got to go through Prince Fielder, then we got to go through Cabrera, then we got to go through V-Mart. Like that's a lineup. Is there anybody even close to any 3 of those players? Like Miggy's a shadow of himself, but that's just because he's old and whatnot.
Right, but even having Miggy, I mean, what did it get you with having such a great, like, the NBA is very different. If you have one superstar player, it could change the trajectory of your franchise. It's just a little different. That's why I'd give the Pistons a nod. But moving forward, man, I also want to bring up 2 breaking news. I just got a text. Shout out to Booner, by the way. Jim Schwartz hired as the defensive coordinator of the Browns. Just took that job. So, hey, Jim Caldwell, maybe he'll be next. Maybe some former Lions head coaches become coaches once again.
I like Schwartz.
That's a guy I believe is just much better as a coordinator.
Correct.
He was okay at coach, but way better defensive coordinator.
And there's nothing wrong with own your lane.
Right.
You know, like you do it in sports. You're a good wide receiver. You're not a good center. Just play wide receiver. And it's the same thing with coaching. And there's one thing that I can't coach you on, but I wish I could. About going to Lady Jane's to get your hair cut, man. That is where you got to go to get the precision cut and to get treated like a king. We are here in beautiful Birmingham, 15 Mile in Woodward. The mothership of Lady Jane's is right out there. So stop on by, hang out with Woodward Sports, and get your hair cut. Or stop at any of the Lady Jane's around you. Precision haircuts anytime. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Matrix Home Solutions is your go-to for any home project. If you're looking at a new man cave, they are the ones to call. They also specialize in that basement remodel and bathrooms and kitchen. So make sure if you got any big project going on, you let the professionals do it. 888-594-8844. That's 888-594-8844. Call Matrix Home Solutions. We'll be doing a live broadcast out there for their grand opening coming up. I believe on February 3rd. So we're coming out to you, Matrix.
That is a Friday, I think?
That is a Friday. Yes. I will be out of town. So
that's when you're taking your
I don't know. Yeah. I'm leaving the 31st, and I'll be back the 6th.
Where are you off to? Arizona game?
Arizona.
Hey, you going to West Falls area?
I haven't seen my mom in like 3 years in Arizona, and I'm going to go see her.
Are you going to West Falls area?
I will go to Scottsdale, yep. Hopefully run into the girl that thinks Westfall looks like Nick Jonas. And
he'll get the job done.
I'll be like, hey, you know my boy? Here's his number. I'll hook you up.
Yeah, he'll hook you up. He got you.
Player helping, not player hating. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Let's go to the chat. You guys want to do it? It's the final segment of the show. What do you guys call this?
Mailbag. All right.
Mailbag time.
Jesse Adams drops the first question here. Mailbag.
I was gonna say it was previously called mail sack for a few days.
Yeah, MALE sack. Right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
It's got to be that way.
The mail sack.
Mailbag. Jesse asks, if the Lions drafted a guard at 18, would you be upset? Second question: if Michigan doesn't make the tourney this year, how does Howard's seat heat up, if at all? First question: guard at 18.
Guard at 18? No, defense.
I would agree.
Simple.
I think you could find. I mean, Jonah Jackson was drafted. I think it's second or third round. I think.
I don't mind strengthening your strength.
Yeah.
And once again, this is so nice to say. Whatever Brad Holmes decide, I'm good with. He knows more than me, and I'll admit that. Unlike Easy.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, Howard, if they don't make the tourney, there's definitely going to be a lot of eyeballs on him. I don't think it changes his future.
He ain't going anywhere.
No, I don't think so either. But definitely, seat's going to get a little hotter. I do believe that.
But it goes back to almost a Jim Harbaugh situation. Who's going to come in and be better? Who's going to come in and do more for your program?
Yeah,
nobody.
Yeah, if you're going to fire somebody, you better have the next
That's
name.
the thing. Don't make a move just for the sake of making a move. Make a move to improve.
Right. Question Stefan asked, do you see the Lions trading down in the first round? I do. I think Brad Holmes has shown us that, kind of like Troy Weaver, you can never count out a move, especially on draft day or draft night. I think that's a real possibility. I would love him to trade back, probably from that 6th pick, but we'll see how it trends. If there's a player on the board, don't trade back. Take who you love. But I don't know where Brad Holmes has players ranked, but I would assume he would trade back, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I got a stick. Put on your GM hat. Who do you sign as a free agent for the Lions? My 2 targets.
Yeah, break them down for me. Who you got?
Bugs is my main one.
There you go.
You need to re-sign Bugs on the defensive end. He showed that he can lock down that middle and let your edge rushers do their thing. So Bugs would be my top priority. Followed by that, Jamal Williams. That's my second priority. After that, if you can get him on a good contract, DJ Chark. If you can't get him on a good contract, goodbye. But really, to me, they only have 2 that they need to sign.
Okay.
That's it.
So you're in the camp of bringing guys back, sign a rookie class, and maybe you bring in like a veteran here or there, and let's go. Let's bring this thing back.
Yeah, I mean, we're witnessing the cake being cooked, right? Like, we're about 20 minutes in. It's rising, it's growing. You don't want to pull that out of the oven right now. You want to keep it baking, keep with the players that you pretty much have. But honestly, there aren't too many free agents on that list that I'm like, God, we got to bring back Anzalone.
Right.
We can find an Anzalone.
Right. Do you think the Pistons will trade with the Lakers? Dante asks. I don't know. The Lakers, that pick, they don't have it for a couple years. Maybe as enticing as it's going to be, because after LeBron is done and over with, the Lakers are going to suck. So that pick is intriguing. But I think that pick, if you were to acquire it, it would be flipped for something else. So I'm never going to rule out a first-round pick. If you give Troy a first-round pick, he's proven he can make chicken soup out of chicken you-know-what. So I'm all for it. What do you guys think about the rumors of Jalen Ramsey wanting to come to Detroit? We kind of talked about this yesterday. We're on a little bit different sides. I think you'd be more for it.
Yep.
Actually, I was incorrect with the cap number. Since the Rams trade him, you'd have to give up a ton of assets. I don't know what that would look like. So I'm a little skeptical on it, but Jalen Ramsey's a damn good player. So
you know what I like though? This is becoming a theme. People wanting to come to Detroit.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Like Comiskey mentioned that he wants to be back here. DJ Chark mentioned yesterday that he wants to come back to Detroit. Those are good signs, right? It used to be get me the hell out of Detroit, and the minute they left, they were on Twitter bashing Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's I want to go play for them. Yeah, it's a great feeling.
No, it's an amazing feeling. Give a ton of credit. Next question.
Who has worse takes, Easy or Flannel? Ooh,
that's a bit of a race to the top.
So here's the thing with this. Easy has more bad takes at like a 7. Flannel has fewer bad takes, but they're at a 10.
Ooh, I like that.
So how do you rate him?
Easy would never say some of the stuff that Sam said. Like
Easy says a lot of bad things. Sam says really big bad things.
Yeah, and honestly, I do agree with, me and Easy, we talk a lot about sports, and I agree with a lot of what he says, but some things we don't agree on, like, for example, giving 0 credit to Jared Goff and all the credit to coaching. I mean...
But he can't back off that hill. They lived on the Jared Goff hate all year.
I know.
So they can't admit. Right.
Yeah,
like they're what's it called? You're all in. Like that's what they are. They're all in.
The real K Collins 77, Jeff shouldn't talk about NFL trades. Oh, you're right, man. I won't. No longer. Never talk about it again. QT says Neil's takes are the worst, and he'll defend them via. Oh God.
Neil has interesting
He
takes,
does.
but with Neil, it's very fact based, you know, and that's what I'm learning with everybody else and where their takes come from. Like with Flannel Sam, if I'm going to argue him, I need to come with statistics because that's the only thing that'll ever get through to him. Yeah. With Easy, you can argue anything because his is just his stupid opinion. He has nothing to back it up.
What about Ryan Armani yesterday on Armani Network says. He said the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would beat the Cowboys, beat the 49ers, and go to the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's a few people
You
said
guys better
Buccaneers
hold
would win.
him to that today, because don't want that slide.
There's
He
a
said
few
that
people
I think
said
we've all
Buccaneers
learned
would
if it
win.
has to deal with Michigan, Armani's going to side with over the top. That's his team. I don't blame him. I get accused of being a lion slappy. He's a Michigan
and
slappy.
I don't fault him for saying that they would win. I thought the Bucs would win as well, but to beat the 49ers, and I don't know if he said they'd win the Super Bowl. I'm like, I don't know. I love Ryan, man. He's great. I hope he mentions it on the show today. He's got to come full circle with that one.
That is the one thing I will say. If you have a bad take and you get proven wrong, it's okay to say I was wrong. And that's one thing I think a lot of people at this network have too much pride to admit. Easy would never admit, even when he's dead wrong, he'd never be like, yeah, you're right, I was wrong. Because nothing in his head will click to let him understand how to grow. It's like, no, it was my opinion, it must be. It's okay to be wrong. I've been wrong, and I'm okay with it. We're up here listing opinions that come true or false as things may go.
Right.
None of us know. If we knew, we'd be running NFL franchises.
Yeah.
None of us know. We're just like you guys in the chat. We have opinions. That's it. We just get up here and talk about
Right, and that's why I love Easy, man. He's because hey, listen, it's his beliefs, and I respect it. Same with Sam Flannel. I'm never gonna fault somebody, or Neil, or Ryan, or you, me, Adam. It does not matter. It's your opinion. As long as you argue it, I'm okay with it. Although I will vehemently disagree with it, it's fine.
And
also,
we're not here to just agree with each other. Right. It's awesome to have different opinions. I would hate if me and Easy sat down and we're like, yeah, you agree on that? Yep, okay, me too. Yep. No, it's fun to have the back and forth.
Right.
Even when you get frustrated with Easy, just, this is my opinion, so it's right. But either way, thank you guys for being a part of the show. If you want to hear all of Easy's hot takes, they're coming up with the heavyweights today from 5 to 7. We also got Big D Energy coming up from 11 to 1. And, of course, Armani and Edwards with Maz from 2 to 4 right here live on woodwardsports.com. Have a great Tuesday. Not sure if I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully Adam's feeling better. If not, we're hanging out tomorrow morning again. Jeff, thank you very much.
Appreciate you, man.
Go watch New Zealand versus USA women's football. How do you not?